Hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
it's going good.
Good.
Today, we're going to focus on DNA. And originally, we were going to go back to in which we always will be going back until we're done, the stuff about mythology. It's just
Right.
that since I had time, because I couldn't walk, and I started watching a bunch of, academic shows on DNA and stuff, hearing them talk. Now, not saying all of them. Like I gave you a link we're going to watch a couple
Yeah.
minutes. That I trust. Those are actual. It's CARTA, which I don't know, you may not know, but it's a scientific group in California who studies. I think it's called anthropogenesis, which is like the origin and evolution of humans.
Ah, cool.
So I already know about it from a long time because unlike say most atheists or even some people that do archaeology and stuff, I started when did humans start?
Right.
I'm saying I want to find out, and then also how far back does religion go? I didn't assume that humans invented everything, like some people fucking delusionally seem to be.
Right. Yeah.
And so, because I also, like science, I believe in evolution, and I see it everywhere.
For sure. Yeah.
It's fucking so obvious. It's fucking everywhere to me. But I guess I follow science stuff. But anyways, so I was watching this stuff and hearing not these people. These people do a better job.
Okay.
But I still think not very adequate because they still don't, I feel, help you grasp what happened. They still kind of talk like it's not understood. But anyways, still better. But I was like, even that, I could still show it easier,
right,
clearer, or whatever you want to call it. Because I feel like, also, I know that it could be an academic bias. So I'm not saying that they couldn't explain it if we ask questions.
Right.
But I think that just like me, sometimes I know so much, Cory. You know this. I know so fucking much stuff. So sometimes it's hard for anyone to talk to me because I know most of the shit.
Yeah, I was talking to Johnston the other day, and I told him about our live stream on Monday, and he says, "So how did it go?" I said, "Well, it's good, but talking with Damien, the information is always very dense. There's lots there." Yeah. Even in a 1 hour episode or video where we're talking about so much stuff that it's like a lot to absorb.
Well, exactly, and I was trying to I cut out a lot of what I would have talked about because I was realizing it's just so much shit.
Right. It's just, yeah. So you got to be able to, be interested enough to go and read the blog because it's a lot.
Well, that's correct. And I always, even with this, especially, this is going to be also very confusing to people. And you should absolutely read the blog because I have pictures and links you can go to. There's a video you can watch, the whole CARTA thing. So there's more stuff. Not that for our situation, really, this is explaining the best. The rest of the video starts talking about what Dissovians and stuff, DNA does with us, and it's not really me relevant to to this discussion because I want to explain and show. Yes, we know where, we know when, we know how, we know who. Only thing we do not know is what exact ancestor that split off of Homo erectus in North Africa became both Heidelbergus, which goes into Europe, and then turns into Dissovians or Disinnovans, whatever they're called, that end up in Asia. But it goes into Spain. So it goes from Africa, and they have artifacts, I believe, of Homo heidelbergus in Africa, not exactly related to us, showing that it's split. And then we went somewhere else. So they were used to think that Homo heidelbergus, just so people know, because you may not even know this, but people used to believe we actually came from that line. They also believe we came from Homo, I think it's Eurasia or something like that, or Homo ancestor. Now we don't know if there's any of those.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
In a sense. That maybe that's why there's a question mark in the DNA thing, because they're like, okay, we checked the DNA and those aren't really us.
Ah, okay.
But they do relate. So some common ancestor gave birth to all those and they go to Europe. because the Homo heidelbergus goes into Europe with some hominid, don't know, the same one that relates to humans that stayed in Africa. But then it almost immediately died by 500,000. So it probably goes in sometime between 750 to 600,000 or 500,000 sometime, or 550. Because 550 in probably Spain is where it's, or maybe higher, France, I don't know, splits and becomes the Decentivans that end up all the way in Asia, like, you know.
Okay.
And then Neanderthals start also in Spain, which is, this is what they, the reason why this is important is because there's a lot of hominins moving around, and you find artifacts that relate to different hominids. What I'm not explaining is every single thing that's been found. We'll get to that stuff in a second. I'm just trying to show the human line. The human line, this is what happened. And these are almost for sure where it happened. Like one of the oldest, because they found the old, speaking of like evolution, to me, the evolution in the sense of burial starts 430,000 years ago in Spain, where a group of 28 bodies, men, women, children, were thrown into a pit. And then when that happened, then someone threw a red stone tool unused on top of it. Maybe like an offering or something. Don't know. Maybe they tripped. Who knows? Don't think so. But I'm just saying. Because you have to say that what we really do know, in other words, like the pseudoarchaeology always makes these wild, you know, speculations, which I'm willing to make speculations when I have good evidence to make it from.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't say how the fuck the stone tool ended up on top of 28 bodies. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
It obviously was brought in by one of the hominids, and some either they fell and it fell in, or they stood there and threw it the fuck in.
Right.
So I don't know, but it is some sort of intentional, because they went into a cave and then buried them in the one pit only.
Right. So the burial was definitely
sort of cemetery kind of thinking.
Yeah.
So and this is 430,000. When they checked the DNA, that's when they realized these were actually Neanderthal.
Oh,
They thought, oh, this was something else, or maybe Homo heidelbergus. Now they realize, oh no, that was a Neanderthal. In fact, that's the oldest Neanderthal. So it also, like I said, puts Neanderthal's origin in Spain.
Right.
And guess what? Spain's also where Homo erectus went. Spain's also probably where the origin of Homo heidelbergus probably came, and probably where either there or France, you know, somewhere around there, is where it splits the Desovians from Homo heidelbergus. And then, in a sense, so in other words, Desovian leaves Homo heidelbergus early. Homo heidelbergus keeps going, and then it becomes Neanderthal. But another branch kept going and becoming Homo heidelbergus also.
Oh, okay.
Or kept being that, whatever. For
yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, it's you know, there's some overlap. I'm just saying it's not like it just disappeared and then became Neanderthal only.
For sure.
But anyway, so this is real important to understand. So all of this stuff really happens in probably Spain. This is super important because before they were thinking that the hominids came from like the Cossack Mountains, which is like past Turkey, you know, is heading towards, you know, and it's like part of Russia or whatever. They thought because there is a hominid there that did change. It's more like a miniature hobbit or something or whatever. Not a miniature, I guess. Hobbit, maybe large hobbit. I don't know. Or a dwarf or something. I'm talking about like, you know, like it became a certain type of, it's not, in other words, dwarfism could be like just something that happens that abnormally, but this is, they're all that way in a sense, or they're probably somewhat body structured different.
Lower in like height and like what?
Yeah, like they're like in other words, just like the one in Florensis is like kind of small but skinny. This one is small but thick.
Okay.
Like bigger than a regular human, like thick wise, you know, like an ape was, you know, really freaking like stout, but not very tall. Anyways, my point is that doesn't have anything to do with us.
Fair. Okay.
I'm just making, well, they found that out with DNA. I'm just making a comment. Those don't have to do with this. There's also ones people like, oh, our Homo line, you know, is Homo lineae or something in China. We'll look at that in a second. But I'm just saying, just to give you a synopsis before we get into, like you said, all the heavy stuff. Just tying it all in easy before we read the
Yeah,
detail.
for sure.
So people are like, oh, that's our line. Well, if you mean it relates to Homo erectus, who we do relate to, then okay. But, and maybe you could say that the arcane human might have got there. So no, there's no problem about arcane human, by the way. An arcane human in a genius kind of thinking really is anything not Homo sapien.
Okay.
So everything Homo, like 3 million years down until 300,000, all those are considered arcane. Because the reason I bring this up is because it can be confusing because how the words are used.
Yeah.
So, but they also, which makes it, like I said, why it's fucked up, they'll call arcane humans the first ones that are the 300,000, like arcane Homo sapiens or something.
Ah.
Or you get it, but that sounds like the other stuff that also is that. So it makes it confusing. So that one guy, I think even in the video when we're going to watch, I think he might mention, because I watched several videos, I don't know, but mention that they need to change the word or give a new word.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Because
it's just too confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's too confusing. It's not accurate. It's too confusing. So it doesn't make, there should be, because they are arcane humans. So maybe it's arcane modern humans and then just modern humans. Maybe that's the way to explain it. At least
maybe
that's all I'll try to, but explain to you. It is different.
Okay.
Arcane humans, just so people understand, Desovians, Neanderthals, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, these are all human.
Right.
So it's not that we could have mated with any of them.
They're just not Homo sapiens. Or
there you go. So just trying to help people understand. So when they think that those aren't humans and we're humans, no, those are humans. There's been 3 million years of a whole bunch of humans. We're the last surviving humans.
Yeah.
But those are considered arcane humans. And we are considered to be, like I said, arcane modern humans.
And so, just to make sure it's clear in my head, like, so Neanderthals are not humans.
They are human.
They are human.
They're considered arcane human.
Okay.
And then we are considered arcane, or the 300,000, not us, but the 300,000 years ago, the first us is considered arcane modern human. But I know modern humans go, what the fuck does that mean? Modern
300,000 years ago is a pretty long time.
Right, you get what I'm saying? So that's why the guy said they need a new word, because it doesn't make any sense to talk like that.
And there was still trying to make sense of it.
I please ask questions, because I watched that stuff and realized it's not even good. And to me, I can't imagine someone else that doesn't know some of the shit I know to even get any benefit out of what they're saying, other than, I guess, science doesn't know. You know?
Yeah. No wonder people are going around going, nobody knows.
Right. Yeah. When I'm going, that's why I said I had to make this video, because we do know it is complicated. I'll try to help. Yeah. Just like I was going to say too, I added, you're going to have to update the blog that I sent you probably, because I added more stuff, because as for me, I want to make it as clear and understandable. So I added Australopithecus, because we actually come from that is how you get to Homo erectus. Because then Homo erectus evolves and becomes us. Well, something between that, but you get what I'm saying? So I felt, you know what? I should start at how we even get to Homo erectus. This is also important because Australopithecus, you look at the map, and it's a certain place of Eastern Africa. Well, that's exactly where they think Homo erectus came from. Well, that would make sense, because if they evolved from the other one and that's where it is, then you see. So I like to do that. I like to put all the evidence together and then go, does it match? And when it does, then I feel I can now speculate. Have reasoned speculation of, but go ahead and ask your question, because I
was just going to say, so there was a whole bunch of different types of humans of like way back.
Correct. Correct. So the first, I know, see, Homo, the word, let's just understand, Homo in Latin means human.
Right.
So when you say Homo erectus, you're saying human erectus.
Okay.
So Australopithecus does not start with Homo. It's before that. And this is also a problem. Like, I've seen this thing, right? So this starts talking about bullshit in advertising. This person says, our human ants, or I don't know how to say it exactly, but something like, our human ancestor was vegetarian. And who they're talking about is Australopithecus, which is not really even human. It's considered a fucking animal, like
okay.
Right. Yeah, it ate grass and nuts. We can't do that.
Yeah.
Not to the extent that that animal is living. We're not a cow, you know.
Right.
But I'm just making a comment. So saying that is really, I feel, disingenuous. If you want to say that you feel that we should be, you know, more vegetarian because of health reasons, and you give different reasons, but coming up with absolute horseshit, like the thing that wasn't even human yet, that ancestor, because they don't mention that, but the non-human ancestor or pre-human ancestor liked vegetarian only.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a pre-human ancestor. I mean.
Yeah, when we were fish, we lived in water and had gills.
There you go. See, now you get what I'm trying to say. I feel like it's just absolute fucking lying.
Right.
That's like you say, well, we used to hang in trees. Well, that fucking go back far enough. That's accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking stupid. You get to say, Cory, that's not like we should still, you know, hang out in trees, or every kid must have a tree so they can climb.
Yeah.
You know, because we're monkeys.
It makes me think of Jordan Peterson with his lobsters. He's like, oh, lobsters have hierarchy, and we're related to the lobsters, so obviously we have to have hierarchy.
And that's a good point. I'm actually anti-hierarchy, which I told this one person. A lot of times, anarchist doesn't explain itself as anti-hierarchy. I do.
Right.
Because, see, I'm an individual anarchist, and I can have my individual views.
Yep.
But anarchism, I feel, as a whole, is a little bit more lenient. It says no unjustified hierarchy, which is a little bit different.
There's definitely plenty of debate within anarchist circles about that stuff. Like,
right. And I just say it how I feel. That's why I was saying I don't speak for every anarchist, but for me personally, I see hierarchy as a fucking cancer, an abomination, an evil, a violence against humanity. I fucking hate it. And it's not just my own opinion. I have a psychology degree, and one of the things that I did when I was in psychology was on trying to understand humans and how we get harmed and how we get better, because I was doing psychology. So one of the things that we did was to figure out how harm, like, and they even showed, right? So they had these kids, and they never harmed them, but they never gave them emotional care. It's like in the 1400s or something.
Okay.
They felt that the God gave the language of Latin or some bullshit. I can't remember exactly, but because this is like 30 years ago or so. I don't know, not 30 years, but I guess
fair enough.
16, 18 years ago or something. I don't know. Long time ago. But anyway, so I'm just saying I'm like remembering it, not look. You know, it's been a long time. But anyways, they test and they give the kids, in a sense, no affection. They teach them, and they can hear no words. They hear nothing.
Right.
And they felt that God would just inspire them to start speaking Latin. That that was just the natural language. Of course, that's not true.
Turns out that didn't happen.
These kids barely even got over teenagers and already out killing themselves or just sickly and die. Because guess what? Just meeting our what do they call that? The hierarchy of needs. This is why I feel like hierarchy of needs is wrong, kind of. Right. How it's perceived as what we need to be better. They act like as long as you have fucking food,
that's
you're good, which is bullcrap. I'm just saying that was one of the things. So I feel hierarchy has also been tested, just to bring up the point about how behavior. So I was trying to say is you can have all your needs met. Like they were clothed, they weren't hurt, they had food, they had shelter, they had zero affection and zero words ever. They were taught nothing.
Jeez, yeah.
And kids wanted to die. We're a psychological, emotional being. We cannot handle life without emotions. We will fucking go crazy.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm just making a comment. So I understand that is a systemic thing that happens to humans. Then if you look at how does humans operate under hierarchy. So we know if we don't get affection, it's bad. We also know that if you give kids the opposite, abuse, it's life damaging.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. Well, guess what? When you check hierarchy, it is very close to child abuse.
Yeah.
It is very close to this oppressive thing, this system of oppression comes for these people are all feeling this we know capitalism oppression, but it's also hierarchy. Because I feel like a lot of times the communists just try to focus on the capitalism and they always show pyramids of hierarchy. Yeah. But don't mention the problem of hierarchy.
Yeah, that's right.
Enough. Even if I feel like they do it, I certainly do not hear that as some champion thing that they're against hierarchy. No, that's us, anarchists.
That's right.
Hierarchy.
I tend to think like state communists or state socialists. They tend to think of it like the hierarchy is okay as long as you can say, oh well, this person is in this position of leadership or power over others for a good reason and for the best intentions of. But like, yeah, anarchists, I think in general are like, hold on now, that's messed up.
Well, and someone asked me just to go to so this has to do with humans, how we arrange ourselves, and the same thing, like going back to the stuff of the Homo erectus and stuff. It is actually that they started, Homo erectus really started caring for their thing. It's not even, because some people say, oh, well, Neanderthals are kind of human-like because they cared for elderly and sick and whatever.
Okay.
They're not the only ones.
Right.
Homo erectus did that shit too. So Homo erectus actually did the first, in a sense, human art, which I don't know if it's art, but like a squiggly line on a shell. It's like 400,000 years old.
Okay, wow.
So the point is, even right? They start, I think, if I can't remember, 6 or 8 cc's, 600 or 800 cc's in the brain, and they end up like 14 or 16 or something, like way bigger by the time of 300,000. I'm just saying. So Homo erectus starts more primitive and is evolving. Right. And our facial, right? Because we used to think like our face sort of being like how it is like the modern human. Because that's why I said they used to call us modern humans. But then when they checked up to 300,000, they already had it. And it already looked like it came before them. They didn't, in other words, that wasn't something pre-human already had our face.
Right.
So I'm just saying, so people don't realize all these things are evolving. And as it's evolving all these traits, right, it's also changing its behavior, its social structures and stuff, just like we talked about before about socialism and anarchism, and how people in the ancient past or whatever did stuff. It's more, well, it's interesting too. Like humans we liked like 50 to like say 100 people, but we like bigger groups. Neanderthals are like 7, 10, 14, like kind of small. And the first humans were kind of the same, 10, 14, 20. So what the difference is, there is a change to where we become more feminine.
Right.
Become less, in a sense, masculine. And what I mean by that is people always like, oh, I have high testosterone, right? And then that means they're aggressive. So I'm not trying to say I agree with all that bullshit either, exactly.
Right.
But I'm just making a point that the thinking is that all these behaviors that are more aggressive and violent, in other words, less social, less and more antisocial.
Right.
In other words, which makes more sense when you see small groups, 7 or something, that's antisocial. When you see someone in 100 group, that's more social. Humans have lasted because we're more social.
Yeah.
Not because we're more individualistic is my point I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Which is so, but hierarchy says the individual is supposed to run the social, which is like a complete insanity.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think of like, I mean, my knowledge of this is kind of like pop writing kind of knowledge. But again, I keep referring to the book Humankind by Rutger Bregman. And he has a section called Homo Puppy, and he talks about the socialization of humans and the evolution to be more social and the softening of our features and the increase of our friendliness and even stuff like the whites of our eyes so that we can tell that we're looking at each other and like stuff like that.
Well, right, smiling and all kinds of there is so much stuff. But what
Blushing,
I'm trying to say is but I was just saying how that relates, I feel, to hierarchy is it shows hierarchy is an abomination someone's added to this natural, healthy, functioning social thing.
Yeah.
This camaraderie and working together actually is what made us survive. And if we don't go back to that kind of that help us survive, it looks like we may not survive.
Yeah, it's the hyper individualism that we've got that has reached us this kind of like self-destructive mode that we're in now.
Right, and we're de-evolving because we're acting like these older they were not as good, and there was a lot less chance they were going to live because they weren't as kind, they weren't as friendly, they weren't as helpful, they were more isolated, more antisocial. I'm not trying to dog on our ancestors,
right?
But they were the groups of the things that their behaviors can give you an idea. Like I said, they still were caring for young, still were not harming each other totally. But I'm just saying that you can see they're not making big social connections.
Yeah, that goes back to like for those of us who have read like anarchist theory, like the Kropotkin mutual aid, a factor of evolution, where like, yeah, it's the sharing, it's the survival of the group is the paramount rather than the survival of the individual. And that is why humanity thrived and survived, and why something like a Neanderthal might have died out.
Exactly. And so that's what I'm saying too, is that evolution just keeps proving, in a sense, anarchist theory.
Yeah.
The way I'm just saying, the way that was more beneficial for humans is when we're all camaraderie and work in solidarity. That is when we do wonderful. So this thought too is that somehow anarchism is desiring something unnatural. That's a bullshit thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's also, I feel like anarchism is the human right we're fighting for. We're saying everyone, it should be treated equal. And then people are like, well, yeah, but this country and that color and that thing and that DNA and whatever the fuck dumbass fucking reason.
Yeah, they keep adding extra shit on top of it, and it's like, no.
So I'm just so we have it the accurate ontology. The accurate ontology is humans do work better together. And then also that you can't just have, in a sense, some sort of like these state communists now where, hierarchy is allowed to stay. And also, to me, I told you before about I feel about Marxist-Leninists. If this is only a stage, how come you worship it with such fervor?
Right.
Why do you not worship the solution at the end?
Yeah.
That you say your state will someday happen, which actually has done the opposite. It went from workers' councils to leaders, and then from leaders to leaders for life.
Right. Yeah.
And then almost like hereditary, their family or something. I mean, it's like,
right, like becomes kings almost. Yeah.
I'm just saying, wait a minute. So I feel like when they feel like anarchism hasn't worked, I always feel like that's ludicrous. That's like saying, well, women haven't had human rights, so fuck it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, just because we've never done it before doesn't mean
or that it's not worth doing. It literally is worth doing. And then, like I said, the problem is it hasn't achieved. They always call it communism. They should say pre-communism,
right? To
be accurate, because they're not in communism. They can call it that all they fucking want, but until you actually live in the communist, stateless, moneyless, right?
Yep. Classless society. Yeah.
Stateless society. You're not there then.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is, if you don't believe me, go look and read Wikipedia where it says communist society, and you'll realize, holy shit, that's not happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyways,
and that's right in all the Marxism that they supposedly worship. That's in there.
Right, but I'm just saying, how many times have you heard them that we need to end hierarchy? That's our.
Yeah,
they don't focus on that. They're like, no, we have to have a state. And if you don't, what is going to... I guess one person goes, well, Damien, if you don't believe in power leaders, you like somehow I'm against leadership. When have I ever said that? In fact, I've never said that. In fact, I've said the opposite. What I have said is I don't want power leaders. I didn't say I don't want any leaders.
Yeah.
I don't want people with power. And like, well, what about people who are intelligent? Like, say me or someone else better than me or whatever. Yeah. Did you hear that I said at the beginning? I'm an anarchist. No one should be a leader in power to me. And even if it was somehow a necessity, it should be temporary and then take the fucking power away.
That's right.
Anyways, my point though is, which they don't get, is they think that somehow we live like in a fucking plastic box. And if you don't pick authority, well, then there's no other choice. It's an absolute black and white fucking fallacy. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. All of us with our supposed great ideas can give the ideas in public, like we do now, right? And then people can fucking vote on them. And then the best ones, that's the ones I think we should try. Yeah. And if those don't work, fuck those. Go to the other ones or start some new ones.
Yeah.
like I feel like they think they've somehow checkmated, us anarchists.
Right.
And I'm like, you haven't even thought this out.
Yeah.
Or listen to what I said. If I say no leaders, that's different. I say no power leaders or leaders of power. In fact, I do say we should empower the people. And I say even how we should do that. I believe that we should create or help to facilitate, which is a leader, help to facilitate other people being their own leader, self-leaders, I'll call them.
Yeah.
And then also, I think that should be facilitated in self-mastery, the total control of yourself, the total, working to your betterment. I mean, and then also I think that the individual should be empowered and be enlightened. And then if they have great ideas, we'll put them in the forum. We'll fucking vote on them. Yeah. So they see, like, this is like he said, Vanguard thing. So we're going to limit to just a few people, just a few good ideas, not all the good ideas.
Right.
So it's not going to be like I feel there should be a battle of ideas and the best ones win. Not here's a few people and we'll choose them even if they don't have the greatest ideas.
Yeah, and ultimately it becomes not even the people choose them. They chose themselves and decided that they were the vanguard and decided to put themselves in charge of everybody and then called themselves the vanguard of the people.
Which, of course, then if you say it like that, I would absolutely be against it.
Yeah.
First off, we should be voting on direct democracy on who's going to be even a temporary leader.
That's right.
So I agree with you. You don't get to say, well, I'm the enlightened one. No, everyone else can decide that. If they don't think that, I guess I'm not to them.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't see this as a problem. I see this as a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I won't go keep going on about that. Let's go to the blog. But I do feel it relates to this, the homo, because we got better and we changed and we evolved to become more social, to become more anarchists. And the fact that we don't have these people just leading us in these hierarchies. Hierarchies wasn't some evolution thing. Hierarchy was a social force.
Yeah, imposed on us by the few, right?
Right. And not even, like you said, we didn't even get to vote on if we wanted them to be the few.
Yeah.
But anyway, so go to the blog where it says, actually, I want you to watch the video first.
One of the features that we see developing in our species. So all these discoveries raise a number of questions. And the main one is the origin of our species, because what paleogenetics tells us is that the split point between the lineage leading to Neanderthals and leading to Homo sapiens is somewhere around 650,000 years ago. So there is quite a stretch of time between 300,000 and 650,000. And we don't have, I would say, much evidence for this time period. For a long time, this middle Pleistocene hominins that we call Homo heidelbergensis was considered to be a possible common ancestor of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. And today, and because what I just showed you, the fact that it's derived already on the side of Neanderthals, we see it more like a common ancestor of the Denisovans and the Neanderthals. So it might be, I would say, essentially an Eurasian group. But
pause for a second. So did you understand what I know his accent is hard. I think he's German.
Yeah.
It's like a German scientist in California visiting, doing, because this is the place where they do human origins. So they fly in. Anyways. So did you get what he was trying to say? So he was saying that because of ancient genetics, testing it, we know for a fact that now we did not come from the Homo heidelbergensis, that actually Homo heidelbergensis must have happened like maybe in Africa and then went to Europe, but it didn't relate to us directly. But it goes to Europe, and then once it goes to Europe, like I'd already told you, it becomes a Sinovan, or Desovian, like he was saying. Mm-hmm. And then I told you that another, by maybe 450 or something, it becomes Neanderthals, and then it keeps going to Germany, becomes Homo heidelbergensis. in a sense, or sort of was that, and kept dropping off, children.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure I got that from what he said. So I'm glad you explained it.
Well, that's what I was saying too. This is like a scientist stuff. This isn't like, someone's YouTube. So I know it's harder, but I like it because since I really want to know a factual thing,
right?
Going back to like saying how to use Google, right? And that's why also I agree that, like I was saying before about being a researcher. As a researcher, I know, or a way of thinking, I know how to get better sources even through the myriad of bullshit.
Yeah, the mess of Google results.
Right. They get what I'm trying to say. So, because if you just Google, it's not a school. So if you just Google, it's just fucking like someone goes, "Here's the entire outside. Now figure it out." And
Yeah,
it's too much. Like 40,000 things, and you don't know what the fuck you're looking at.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sure.
or what's better, because some of the shit, like I said, if you watched like 4 or 5 of them, they all kind of sound the same. Even this one kind of does. We don't know exactly. So if you don't really understand the DNA yourself, it's going to be, you're lost. This is not helpful. And it's like you said, you watched it.
Yeah.
Let's go back and watch it, listen to it again, so you can see if you can hear him now. I know the accent is hard, but I would go back again just so you can hear him, because it is important. I don't want me. I don't want you to trust me. I want you to understand.
All right.
Interaction. And this is one of the features that we see developing in our species. So all these discoveries raise a number of questions. And the main one is the origin of our species, because what paleogenetics tells us is that the split point between the lineage leading to Neanderthals and leading to Homo sapiens is somewhere around 650,000 years ago. So there is quite a stretch of time between 300,000 and 650,000. And we don't have, I would say, much evidence for this time period. For a long time, this middle places in hominins that we call Homo heidelbergensis was considered to be a possible common ancestor of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. And today, and because what I just showed you, the fact that it's derived already on the side of Neanderthals, we see it more like a common ancestor of the Denisovans and the Neanderthals. So it might be, I would say, essentially an Eurasian group. But the problem is that we all
see. He said there it's in a Eurasian group, meaning it didn't have stuff to do with Africa.
Right.
So that's how they know it's not our direct ancestor. They used to think that. They also used to think that people, like I said, came from the Cossack Mountains or came from Turkey and then went all the way to Spain and then went all the way back. Some people tried to say Homo erectus, not Homo erectus, not Homo, Australopithecus. Someone tried to say went all the way to China, and then Homo erectus came all the way back to North Africa by 2 million. It's like, no. I told you anyways. It's like 2 million there and 2 million one here and 2.4 million in Central, Eastern Africa. So no. But I'm just saying they used to have all these, wacky fucking things. There's speculation, so that's fine. They're trying to fit the data. I'm just saying now we know a lot better.
Right. Yeah. Like he said at the start of it, this section really was that we know now through paleogenetics that it was 650,000 years ago.
You listen that time. I'm just saying it's important because this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm showing you. I know because the science knows.
Right.
Not because Damien is fucking guessing.
Right. Yeah. So and then he goes back, which is where I got confused before. Was it? Then he goes back and he says, "We used to think this was the spot." Yeah.
Right. And they used to think that the Homo heidelbergensis is where we came from.
Yeah. So
and
that makes sense. Yeah.
So it wasn't. It was something pre that.
Right. Okay. You want to continue then?
Yeah. Till 18. Yeah.
Okay.
Also have it in Africa, and this is kind of puzzling. We have at least 2 fossils that we can assign to this group in Africa, and we have indication that it could have survived much later than we used to think. So that's, again, it's something we have to consider. An African continent with different groups, the ancestors of Homo sapiens that we still have to identify, these sort of Neanderthal-like creatures that may have survived for a while, Homo naledi.
Pause for a second. So why I was saying it's important too, because they were trying to say that humans, Neanderthals, Desovians, Heidelbergers come from the east and came west. This is proving since the Heidelbergers is in Africa, the same place in North Africa probably humans are.
Right.
We know it went through Spain. You see what I'm saying? It's not. Well, people are still guessing. You can find tons of stuff that say it's not, but I'm telling you, this is showing, and with the artifacts together, it came from Africa.
Right.
Because also you could have said that it came, because our people before could have said it came from the Cossack Mountains all the way to Spain and then went over into Africa and then evolved into humans. But that's not what happened. What happened is Australopithecus was in Africa. Then out of that comes Homo erectus that stays in Africa for our lineage. It does go out of Africa, but that has nothing to do with us. So it goes to North Africa 2 million 1 years ago, and then sometime after that, it evolves into that, and then that goes into Europe. We don't. And then in Europe, it becomes Homo heidelbergus, then Homo desovian, and then Homo Neanderthal, all in Europe.
Okay.
So that's what he's kind of saying and what this is showing. He also in a second is going to talk about Homo naledi, but you see how that's not directly related to us. That's why I was just saying people will say all these different names, but if it's not off this line right here, the orange thing, it doesn't really have to do with this. And do any of them really have to do with us? No. And some of them are further away, like Homo erectus to Homo naledi. They're related, but not to us.
Yeah, because we branched off a different time.
Question mark, and the question mark gave birth to all the Sovians and that. So all of us are related to that question mark, but we are not related to the Homo naledi. That's all I was trying to show you.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you could say we're related to Homo erectus, or go back further.
Right.
But anyways, so that's good enough. I'm done with this video.
Okay.
I wanted you to kind of get that. Then we'll go into the blog itself.
Okay.
So the first picture in the blog, go ahead and read what the top says.
So it says, according to genetic analysis, the last common ancestor, LCA, of modern humans and Neanderthal split into a modern human line and a Neanderthal Denisovan line, and the latter later split into Neanderthal and Denisovans, suggesting the modern human Neanderthal LCA had existed long before many European specimens typically assigned to Homo heidelbergensis.
That, in a sense, is to debunk the old belief that Homo heidelbergus, because you can actually find, if you go to Heidelbergus, I think even it says we come from that. That's not accurate now.
Okay.
Not because of DNA. DNA, the thing that I really like to understand, because it's less of a guessing science.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's pretty definitive.
There you go. So then the next thing, what does it say? Prehistory of Iberia Peninsula.
Yeah, so prehistory in the Iberian Peninsula begins with the arrival of the first Homo genus representatives from Africa 1.5 to 1.25 million years ago.
Right. And so the first thing you have to understand is that the one that came from Africa fucking 650,000 years ago into Spain? No, Cory. It's already in Europe. 1.5. You see what I'm saying? Showing its multiple migrations, right? Do you grasp that?
Yeah, it had to come much earlier, obviously, I guess.
Right. So everything in the dark red, see the dark red?
Yep.
On the map? That is Homo erectus.
Okay.
and I drew the pink to show sort of which ways they went.
That's the directionals.
Right.
Kind of
And
thing.
so then you understand when things are happening, or where sort of the which way they went. So we went in Africa over to North Africa. See, and then it went into Spain and went into Italy.
Right.
Right. So, and then when did it go into Spain? And the answer is 1.5 to 1.25 million years ago.
Okay.
So that is not the same one that later went up again, that became Homo heidelbergus and the Sovians and all that. So they did not grow in situ. In other words, like in the Europe. Their line comes from Africa. Because it could have been Homo erectus went there, and then they just later evolved into it in Spain. I mean, it's not that, but that's not what happened. See, that's what's the great thing is, instead of just guessing, we'll go to the DNA that goes, that's not what happened.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So because sometimes people go, oh, they were always there, and somehow that's how they got to
but there's different DNA lines.
There you go. But see, since we care about this thing called details and facts, the details and facts do not match that. Details and facts show they were not out of Africa until at least 700,000 to 650, so 700,000, maybe 750, so or something. It could be all the way to 550. In other words, an older Homo erectus goes up there and starts doing whatever and does evolve a little bit. But that's not who became the Neanderthal. The one who stayed, right?
Right.
And evolved from Homo erectus also, like in Africa, though, not the one that left. In Africa, and it becomes something, ? And then that goes into Europe and becomes Homo heidelbergus.
Okay.
The Neanderthals, you know what I'm saying? In Europe. And then that ? goes to, East Africa, west, further northwest Africa, and to where the 300 years ago group was found.
Okay.
In North Africa, those which on the thing is the white.
Yeah.
White arrows. So they go over there, but they probably got their 350. And the stone tools are sometime around there also. So 300 is the average, because it could be 320, 315, 350 is when we got there, in a sense. But so my point is, we know a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And then the DNA matching it with the artifacts gives you these movements that I'm trying to show you. So I hope that helped a little bit. I
think so. Yeah. Because the idea is that there was initially, I can't remember which ones it was, but there was a group that went up to Europe.
Homo erectus. So we'll go to let's go to the first one and go down one. Go down one. So this map, you see one damn picture down?
Hominin timeline.
Correct. But the picture next to it, the map.
Yep.
That area, right? That's Australopithecus.
Okay.
So that's the one that turns into Homo erectus.
Okay.
Like their ancestor. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And thus, like I said, they ate mostly grass and nuts and leaves and shit, whatever. So something like that. Anyways, but so that's why I say that saying that the niche does not show them out of Africa. Also, by the way, because we haven't found anything outside of Africa. So that's also why I think it's ridiculous that they went all the way to China and then Homo erectus evolved all the way back to Africa.
But didn't leave a trace.
That never sounded right. Okay. Like I said, because if you look at where this one is, it's not out of Africa, and it is sort of East Africa. And then in the center of that, if you go back up to that picture above, see the pink Homo erectus circle?
Yep.
That's where Homo erectus, somewhere in that circle, they originate.
Okay.
And if you go back that circle, though, and you go back to the Australopithecus, you see that the Australopithecus were dominating that area.
Right.
So it makes sense to think that they came from there. So when someone says Homo erectus, our oldest ones are found there, is it really a shock? Like that's like their ancestor, that's where they lived. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm just showing you why I thought it was not a reasonable speculation to say that these ones went without any artifacts, went 6,000 miles to China, and then evolved Homo erectus, who came all the way back without leaving any artifacts, all the way back to 6,000 miles again to Africa. You're like,
no, that just all happened in the same spot.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
What they call it, Occam's razor. What sounds more believable, Cory, that in the exact spot of the ancestor hominid, they evolve, or they evolve where no artifacts 6,000 miles away, and then you say, not only that, well, that's crazy enough, but then to say they came all the way back to become humans, all the way back to Africa, and no artifacts on the way back.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's like Graham Hancock bullshit. Come on now. That did not make fucking sense. You can't say that made sense to you.
Yeah.
I'm not, if we had artifacts the whole way and all the way back, I'm not, you know me, I am not against what some could see as wild speculations, but not to me, because it's only wild because you don't know my facts. But because and then once I explain all the facts, you're like, damn, that almost matches what Damien thinks. I go, crazy, right?
Yeah.
My ideas match the facts. Probably because I build them from that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Your ideas might match the facts because your ideas are based on the facts.
See? Don't make it too hard. But I'm just saying, so also that makes people mad because they go, Damien, you always think you're right. And I go, well, I always use facts. So aren't I going to be always right?
Yeah.
I mean, they act like I'm a dickhead because I use facts and I'm right. I'm right because I use facts. If that bothers you, then you are the one that has a problem.
Yeah.
Not me. I mean, you should demand everyone do this. I mean, why does it seem odd when I do it?
Yeah.
Right? It shouldn't be.
Because we're all just very content to let everybody just say things, whether they're related to reality or not.
Yeah, no, and they also, people will say just the same thing. They'll use loaded language because they'll say, well, that's just a speculation. And I go, I agree, but my speculations are reasoned.
Yeah. As opposed to a certain someone who
or just in general, a lot of people, even not pseudoscience or pseudohistory or whatever, just say shit that is not true or that it couldn't be true if you really thought about it.
Yeah,
that's also why I try to not just say, oh, Cory, this is the facts. I try to teach you so Cory understands, okay, I think I'm getting what the facts are.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I have some understanding of where you got your ideas.
Correct. And I got my ideas from the fact, because people don't grasp this. Like, well, what do you start like you think you know? I start as an axiologist. I don't know anything. And then I have to learn.
Yeah.
So I truth is my seductress. I told you this before. It is not something I feel like I already always have. Sometimes I don't have it, and I'll say the truth. I don't have it, but I'm looking. And I'm just trying to show you too how to look. Right. How to figure out, is this reasonable that this is what Damien is saying? Is this reasonable to what the facts demonstrate? What are the facts explaining?
Yeah.
You know? And so that's what I try to do, is show that and show that. So all these shows are saying, we don't know and blah, blah, and who don't. I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. If you're going to be, I feel like this, first off, if you're going to be science educators, your attempt should not be the, oh, we don't know. You should just say this, like we talked about before. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's accurate.
I don't know, but I'm sure we could find out. Or we can,
maybe I'm not sure. I could just say, I don't know, but someone may know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, not assume that just because you don't know, or you don't, like Cory could say, well, I watched that video and I didn't understand what the hell that scientist, his language, and first off was not English. So it's hard to understand. And then the stuff he talks about and the way he talks about it is doing it for other scientists. So it's not for the general public, and it is not easy to grasp what the fuck he's saying unless you already think this way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's also why Damien makes my videos, where I try to go, yeah, so it's not like I'm trying to debunk stuff or whatever. I'm trying to help, because my goal is not to be your leader or anybody's leader. I'm just everyone's friend. I want to be a friend of the world. Never said I want to be the leader of the world.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
I don't. What I want to do is help facilitate the inspiration to be your own leader, to be your own empowerment, to be your own self-mastery. You don't need fucking people. People don't like their parents telling them what to do, but yet government, fucking school, I'm talking about college or something, when you're an adult.
Right.
How to think, how to whatever, I'm not saying that they always do that, but you should not demand of yourself that you don't do that.
Yeah.
Nobody should have to tell you that, don't follow the leader. Isn't that what you yourself should want to do?
Yeah.
So I want to teach people how to think and why to think in the process of research or thinking, so that they themselves can be empowered and do this. I don't want to just make videos where I explain everything and then, just, Damien's great.
What is it? The old thing, you're supposed to teach people how to think, not what to think.
Well, I do both. So I don't totally agree with that statement, because if I teach you facts, I should teach you what to think. What the fuck?
If they know how to think, then they should be able to see those facts.
Right. But what you mean is I don't push a thing or force onto which, of course, as an anarchist, I do not.
Yeah.
I trust reason, and all I do is present reason in a way that is so reasonable you grasp its reason.
Yeah.
I checkmate people constantly, because I always go, you can't stop people with facts. Have you watched any of my videos? I even stop people that are academics with facts. So wrong. And I've also stopped people that were fucking fools, ignorant, maybe by choice. Even them, I get them to see it.
Right. Yeah.
And then when you do that, reason takes, see, that's why I'm saying it. I already know how people think. It's a psychologist thing, schooling. I already know how you think. And then also I have natural abilities to be able to grasp people and manipulate or use them or whatever, make them think things they don't want to think. And they always go, oh, people can't make other people think. I'm like, so con mans are the thing?
Right.
Huh? Right? Never?
No, they fully are.
Right? You know what I'm saying? One of the best ways that cons will say, or the simplest way to a con will explain how they can con other people? Greed. Greed is the easiest way to con people.
Yeah.
Because people, I tell you, Cory, I can give you $10,000 for $100. $100, not 10,000 later. Your greed will throw reason out the fucking window. Oh, 10,000 fucking. I'm just making a comment. So they are able to manipulate you some because, like me, they grasp your psychology that you cannot get outside of. Which is why I've told you before, if I'm given long enough with a person and they have to answer and talk to me, I can almost break anybody.
Right.
Because as long as that's why I say it's on the teacher, as long as I die to myself, as long as I remove me, I cannot be offended because I'm not there. I am simply to teach, like a robot. Just because if I'm only caring about them, just like to help people grasp what I'm saying by this, like say you have a kid and they're having this tantrum or whatever, you don't think I need to somehow, take just the thing away. You get the problem is the kid. The thing should be able to be there and the kid not feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Solving the problem is not just removing the thing and hiding it in a cupboard or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You do need to get the kid to be able to not scream and holler when he sees a thing or she or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and how you do that certainly is not by traumatizing them.
Right.
Because they are already traumatized.
Yeah. That's why they're afraid of it or whatever.
Right, exactly. So we talk and reason with them and empower them and enlighten them to be able to be self-mastery on their own. And then when they have self-mastery, then they are no longer, in a sense, crippled by fear. Not that you won't ever fear, but you won't be crippled by fear.
Right.
Different. Yeah. Anyways, so the same thing that with this Homo erectus stuff, the thinking, right? Because I'm talking about your ability to think. And that is an evolutionary thing that didn't just start like in nothing and then immediately humans and miracle happen. You know what I'm saying? Like God or whatever. So we can look at this very clumsy, slow process to get to humans as a complete evolution of those piece by piece by piece. Because even like I said, the ones at 300,000, they're not social, so they're not really doing great. They could have died off. So the fact that we ended up evolving to where like 100 or whatever, you know, is a normal thing, that's actually not normal because the family's not that big. In general, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's more than one family, even probably more than a couple families, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And that means everybody's working together. So it goes back to like I was saying about it is really natural. And I know that there's anarchist books, and I do think it's good that people read stuff. As you know, I have not read any anarchist stuff.
Right.
I barely fully read like the Wikipedia stuff on anarchism. It's not that I don't think it's valuable. It's just when you read something that says shit that I already fucking think, and I could have explained all this. If you just told me the term, I can almost explain it. And I did that before many times, but like with, I realized because of thinking that something had to be before logic. No one ever told me this. When you go read it, it doesn't say there is. But if you go put in a search and say pre-logic, you will get a Wikipedia page. Right. Because there is such a thing. I'm just making a comment. I already knew that before learning that.
Right.
Because it just, my brain, it has to evolve. How do you get to that? It doesn't.
Yeah. It doesn't start at logic, right?
Like, you just wake up one day and go, I'm logic. How did you know it was logic?
All these fallacies exist because I say they do.
Right, exactly, yeah. Out of nothing. Just see, if you use them, it's already bad because I decided they're bad, you know.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's not. No, so I right. So and I also too, I'm very good at reason, which is the basis for logic. So the difference, in a sense, to help you understand, logic is more like the final conclusion, right? It's either A or not A. It doesn't have to get, you can add much more to logic, but for reason, you can't just say A or not A. You need to say more stuff.
Right.
Because you have to prove that it's reasonable. In other words, logic is already like assuming that everything you're saying is truth.
Right.
So something had to come to back that up.
Yeah.
Not just, well, I feel.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Anyways, I'm just showing you how I think and why. So I told you in general, I as an axiologist do care about all the presuppositions. And to me, the post-suppositions, meaning, like I told you before, that child abuse or rape are not just a momentary harm.
Right.
It is a psychological damage to the being that lasts throughout and I see it like a shotgun. In other words, when it first starts, the event, the rape, the child abuse, whatever, the first event, it's only in that a little bit of that adult or child's life, right? But as they get older, it starts widening and widening. The further it goes out, the further it gets wide, the further it goes out, till actually there is no part of their life that's actually not traumatized from the event. It becomes, that's what they call it, complex PTSD or whatever.
Right.
But to me, those are just, once again, just giving terms like the names to the hominids. Well, we just call them this. I mean, they didn't call themselves this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
just like the person who's experiencing it may not necessarily label it as complex PTSD. They're just it.
Correct. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it isn't. You know, when
right. They're experiencing this thing. Yeah.
But I'm saying, so that has to do with, in a sense, is the post thing. The presupposition and the post-supposition. I think about axiology and the systemic post stuff, not just the pre, but the pre matters too, because you need to have the whole picture. Because And then you're going to make better value judgments. This is what's another day too. Like, well, how, like you talked about morality before too. How come my morality can be more accurate or more, in a sense, firm,
right,
and solid is because of how I get there, and that I don't get there like as in Damien just magically said, magic 8-ball, boom. No, I explained to you. Well, this is the process of what you look for. This is the process of what's going on. This is the process of how you make the judgments. I explain, I break everything down. And then also, like I told you, I show you that it's a choice, moral love, moral fear, and it's always doing this. Mm-hmm. Every single choice you make is either a justice, I'm talking about morality, a justice thing or a care thing. You cannot have both. This is like very hard for people to grasp. You cannot, if you say, like I told you before about it, two people, do a crime, right? And then I tell you, well, one of them was a child. Well, care is going to come in because you're going to say, well, then they shouldn't be punished the same, which would be justice.
Right. You're, I guess, in a sense, you're analyzing part of it through the care lens because
you've made a conclusion, or you could say that. You could say you've analyzed it, but you've already realized that that's the appropriate one to use.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, in axiological terms, and also people understand, I'm not saying every single thing I say about axiology you could find in some book, because a lot of the stuff, my philosophy in general, like my debate strategy and the way that I look for DNA and the way that I look and explain all this stuff, or even logic, or even, it's all me. It's or mainly me, I should say. How about that? It's mainly me. Because I should say, too, always remind people, I got some ideas from my wife. Not because she taught me philosophy. She knows less stuff than I do. She's never even looked at philosophy stuff. It's just that she is a more logical thinker. I'm a reasoned thinker, which is pre-logic in a sense, which is good because you can get enough reason to get to logic. So I can figure out the steps, which actually I think helps people more than probably she could, because I can explain the steps to get there. She's just like, well, this is what it is. I'm like, well, yeah, but how do you explain that to them?
Fair.
Okay, that's a good answer. Yeah, I agree. And then she'll say, well, this why? And I'm like, well, yeah, I agree with that too. But how do you get other people like me? You do reason. Well, see, most people aren't even at reason. They're like somewhere before that.
Right.
They're like pre-reason, and I'm in reason, and she's in logic. So she's above me and how I see it. Anyways, so just the way that she thinks and asks questions, it used to blow me away. How the fuck do you come up with such great questions? Damn.
Right.
But then I started realizing, that's why I invented my hammer of truth thing. I started realizing, like, paying attention to this. Pay attention to what they're doing. All of a sudden, it doesn't seem so out of sorts. It actually starts seeming reasonable. And that's when I realized she's getting the ontology first. Because I was all into axiology, and a friend of mine was all into epistemology, and we'd always argue about shit. Nonstop. We're both philosophers, so like we're talking high level, and just he got his ass kicked a lot, but he also sometimes got me a little, or at least made me think. So I'm not saying he was fucking pretty brilliant, but once again, yeah, so am I. But I started realizing actually he's correct too. I think I've been not caring enough about epistemology. I've been thinking axiology everything, not realizing, well, there's other tools. Like I was telling you before about a doctor who only uses a scalpel. He'd be the best with a scalpel, but there's other tools. And so that's when I started realizing I am limiting myself unjustifiably, which also made me feel bad. I was like, oh damn, man, it's not even reasoned. It's this maybe is an emotional thing. Maybe I'm feeling safe in axiology, so I just stay there. And really, I should be venturing out into this other ways of processing thinking to get better accuracy. And so, anyway, so I'm just saying it was sort of my friend too, because he constantly, my wife didn't push epistemology on me, but she would always demand a good ontology. Like, God damn, she was
like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, she would just grin like, oh, well, I guess I don't know. So I felt really stupid a lot. but once I started getting, okay, oh, that's what she's asking. Damn, that's a pretty good way of thinking. And I started realizing, well, actually, isn't that how thinking is happening? In steps, it's happening. What are you talking about? How do you know that? And then you value judge what their answer was.
Right.
I'm like, well, fuck so that became my hammer of truth. Anyways, so I'm just saying, like, all out of my ideas, I use facts. Like I told you too, I don't really read popular books. Like, have you read any popular books? No. I read archaeology books, handbooks that cost $150, $200 million or whatever. Or like this, I watched a lot of boring science, not
Science
for
lectures.
the general public shit, What'd you say?
Science lectures.
Yeah, science lecture that is definitely not for the general public. And is, but actually, like I told you before, it's not that I even like it. It's that I want to be accurate, Cory, because I want to help empower you guys or everybody else. I want everybody to be empowered. And I see this stuff and I don't know. And I'm like, what? Someone knows. So I didn't know either. So just so you know, I didn't know either. Exactly. Because I kind of just thought, well, we come from South Africa is good enough for me, because I can trace that DNA and everybody alive relates to 75,000 years ago in South Africa, a mother or whatever. So I know that. So I was good because that worked for my out of Africa, and that worked for my religion origin, because religion starts in South Africa and goes north.
Right.
So I was like, or at least humans religion in a sense. So I didn't need to look more. But then how I heard them talking, I'm thinking, well, now I want to look more, because I'm thinking that can't be right. Talk about skepticism, right? I listen to people like, oh, no one knows, and blah, 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 we don't know.
Yeah, not a fan of the no one knows kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not either. So I immediately need to go look and figure out, does anybody know? But so, and like I said, let's go back to the thing. So, Australopithecus, like I already told you, relates to the Homo. Then the next picture you see is talking about the some ancestor, like you should be ancestor ?
Yep. Right. Yeah. There's no question mark there, but
it needs a question mark, because that's the more the reality. They don't know something ancestor, and it shows how we split off. Okay, so you see that, and then how we also shared DNA. See, 100,000 years ago, human female DNA goes into Neanderthal. And Neanderthal goes at like 45 or 50 or something, goes into both humans and Desovians.
Right.
Not that far from different. And then Desovians later go into humans.
Come all the way over to humans.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyways, it just shows how we're related, right? So, and then just read what it says down there. A group.
A group of humans diverged from the ancestors of modern humans some 600,000 years ago in Africa. Modern human ancestors diverged from the ancestors of Neanderthals and Denisovans at least by about 600,000 years ago. Until about 440,000 years ago, these three groups existed in parallel, occasionally met and exchanged genes. Members of that group eventually left Africa and became Neanderthals in Western and Denisovans in Eastern Eurasia, respectively.
Pause for a second. So it did say that they started in Africa.
Yes.
Like I already explained to you, and that actually matches with the DNA and all that good stuff. So this is why every other people, and there's a lot, I told you, that say that we came from somewhere in the Balkans or somewhere from Turkey or something, and then went all the way to Spain.
But that's just not it.
That's not what happened. See what I'm saying? And the greatest thing is, so the Australopithecus is in Africa only. Homo erectus starts in Africa and Eastern Africa, Central Eastern Africa, goes out to the China, right? They tried to say, remember I told you the nonsense that they went out there and they went all the way back and became us.
Right.
So we know that's not right either, because it was a different branch that went over to Africa.
Right.
Just trying to make sure you know what the fuck really happened.
It's like, so Homo erectus went in two different ways.
Correct. Go back to the main picture at the front so you can look at it.
Right.
Right. So see the pink or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So this one branch went over to China.
Right. So they tried to before say that went all the way back to North Africa. That's ridiculous. Plus, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Just saying, this is. I was trying to simplify so that you can see where we started, where our earlier ancestor, Homo erectus, started also in Africa. So we're Africa, Africa, Africa.
Why? I'm trying to wrap my head around why they would say that they went all the way to China and then back over to North Africa.
Dude, I don't know. I'm just telling you what nonsense someone might say to you, and now you can go, yeah, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. And it doesn't make any sense.
It literally did not happen. So, okay, didn't happen. Anyways, let's go on to another one. But I want you to understand this. So the next thing down is Homo heidelbergus is, what is it? Unlikely to be an ancestor. And we already explained why.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah, that was also the video that we just watched.
That was the video. I'm trying to tie those two things in so you can learn. And the question mark ancestor, because we don't know.
Right.
But the next thing also is that place, that red dot right there, the next picture, it says oldest Middle Stone Age. That's what the MSA means. Middle Stone Age. So the Middle Stone Age. And these are the oldest Middle Stone Age tools right there in the humans. So we made the earliest Middle Stone Age tools. And what this is important is because before they were like big and clunky tools. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna give you an art. I'll show this to people too because this shows a bunch of stone tools. So I think it might be helpful because I know when you look at stuff, it's easier than when you just hear Damien rattling on about facts and facts. That's why I try to do so much art. I don't get paid for this or anything. It's just I care to educate people so that they feel like they know, not they trusted Damien or trusted anybody. That you know yourself why. And also, I think it makes it harder to get fooled by fuckers like Graham Hancock.
For sure.
If you can figure out how to do this on your own, you're not going to fall for bullshit. I would hope.
Okay.
So I gave you the picture. Do you see the difference between the early Stone Age and the Middle Stone Age?
For sure.
And then the later Stone Age?
Yeah.
Right? They're changing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the early Stone Age is like quite big, 3.3 million years ago, and endings vary in different places from 400,000 to 250,000 years ago.
Right.
And then the Middle Stone Age is quite a bit smaller and sharper, it looks like.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool.
But anyways, this is to help you understand that we are changing. We're evolving. Stone tools evolve. Language evolves. Religion evolves. It literally all evolves.
Yep.
Think that somehow humans were removed from that and not evolution. It's just like, no.
Yeah. No, that's.
And I'm literally showing you what happened. Right, in a way that a lot of people don't. Right, we started pre-Homo erectus and show how it went, and then the tools. Right, and then also if you notice, that's the red dot for the thing. Right, that has the earliest of Middle Stone Age tools. All the places in East and South Africa that have a red dot are also younger, but they relate to this Middle Stone Age. So they had to probably come from there, from West Africa. And then, so I already showed you on the little map of the first map, remember, it goes first down to central, and then it goes to south, and then it goes north to east. So it goes, So let's go down to the next picture. This shows how Homo and then how it all split off and everything.
There it is. Yep.
Although if you notice, they have it wrong because they have Homo heidelbergus turning into humans.
Oh.
And that's wrong. That's
wrong.
And also it says that this happened 1.3 million years ago. And what do we know, Cory? That also is wrong.
Yeah, we just learned that from the video.
We just learned. And from the stuff you read, that it's 600. It's actually somewhere between 550 and 750. But they just say 600 as sort of a middle point.
Right. Yeah,
it is somewhere around there. So could it be 1.3?
It is not.
It is not. But the reason they thought that is, remember I showed you already in Spain at 1.4 to 1.3.
Right.
Is artifacts that look like early human or Homo erectus or something.
Right.
So they thought, like I said, that we evolved up there.
rather than down in
Africa, where it
Southeast.
actually happened.
Yeah.
In North Africa, excuse me, because it wasn't just anywhere. That's another thing too. I just one person, well, maybe all of Africa was like this Eden, and there was like hominids everywhere. I'm like,
it's a pretty big space to be having.
You need to not say shit like that. That's just like dumb fuck. That's Graham Hancock talking about. Do you realize how big Africa is? It is fucking gigantic, like 6,000 miles or something, or from one edge to the other edge or something. It's fucking goddamn humongous.
It's a very large area.
Huge. So when you say it's all over, you just maybe mean that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You shut up. You should just.
I've decided that I don't want to look any further than this giant area.
It's ridiculous. I hear that and I go, wow, that's not science talking. So, Peking man is not related to humans. Just want to get this because Chinese tried to say that, or before tried to say Peking man's where Asians came from. No, no. Well, it looks kind of Asian. I don't care what it looks like. It could literally look like your grandfather and still not has anything to do with you.
Yeah, that's right. Like
that's the Graham Hancock shit. It looks like something I think. I'm like, I don't care what you think it looks like.
Yeah, because I mean, in a sense, like if you go back far enough, they're all related. But at what point?
Well, if you look
Homo
here,
sapiens, right?
Like I'm just saying, the Peking man breaks off of something that became Heidelbergus, and probably something Homo erectus, because Homo erectus did become Pekinus.
Right.
Because it's Pekinus Homo erectus. So, or maybe it's Homo Pekinus. Anyways,
something like that.
Homo erectus Pekinus? I don't know. Anyways, it's something like that. So it's not us. That's all I'm just trying to say. It's so far from us. It's like don't even bring it up. Okay, so the next thing is showing the Homo erectus range and where all his populations were. Okay. Do you see heavy populations in China?
There's not. No.
Those circles, see those big circles? That means 500 plus or whatever. The bigger circles.
Oh yeah.
The little ones are like 1 to 3 artifacts or something.
Right.
So, but there's no big circles or even little circles in China. So that person is saying that they thought that they went to China and all the way back. It makes it even worse.
Yeah.
As a speculation. See what I'm saying? I mean, it was bad anyways. Like you said, it's bad. There's not a lot of artifacts to support that in any kind of way. And then also there's no major populations in China, but you see that's where they evolved. What? Excuse me. That is like ridiculous. Anyway.
Okay.
I'm just trying to show you how we know that theory is also completely nonsense.
Right.
And then let's go down and read what it says.
Says, to me, Homo erectus is the only reasonable ancestor for Homo florensis.
Yeah.
Particularly to early Javanese Homo erectus. It is
right, because that was a different kind and more evolved. And that's the one at 400,000, that Javanese Homo erectus who did the first art.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So it was already evolving something more.
Ah, cool.
Because people don't change, right? Of course they change.
Yeah.
So the next picture shows you also kind of what my first picture does, sort of shows you how they're moving around. But this one shows you time frames.
Oh,
and it's 2.4 in a million years ago. And it's showing you where. And then you see in North Africa, they're already there by 2.2 million.
Yeah.
Look at where they get to China. 1.66.
Yeah.
Or even you could say 1.7, right? It's southern China.
Yeah.
So so they would have to get there and then all the way back before what? Wait a minute. No, it's 2.2.
That's too late. You're already too late.
Nope.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just showing you that we can tell by looking at this, and then like I said, where it evolves to, it's not really guessing.
Right.
Here's another one showing Homo erectus travels. That's close to it, almost the same as what I showed before.
Yep.
Just trying to show you that I'm not some like outlier position anyways, except a couple things, but the DNA is why that shows that they're now wrong about Homo heidelbergus. And so this right here, the next thing down is Homo ancestor offshoot, right? So you need to look at this because the reason I bring this up, because people can say Homo ancestor relates to humans. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. not the way you're thinking.
So on the side is like these measurements are 0 to 2. What is that?
These are 1 million years ago.
Oh.
Yep. So but the point is, do you see how Homo ancestor, that the big one that keeps going, then eventually becomes Homo sapiens?
Yeah.
See, but Homo sapiens does not touch Homo ancestor, does it?
No, it does not.
No, it's not a big thing, Cory. I'm just showing you that we know it, that the DNA says that that's not what happened.
Right.
Anyways.
Cool.
So then the next one shows all the different hominids.
Okay.
And to give you an idea, and this is what's weird, I think, is look at how they show Homo Neanderthal like almost in Germany. It should be, and Homo heidelbergus. These things should be down in Spain, but anyways.
Okay.
Like who the fuck put them in Germany?
Right, eh?
No. We have older artifacts in Spain than that. Anyways, but Desovian's not too bad. And then Homo longoni, whatever that is, longi, that one, they were saying it's trying to say, oh, that's an ancestor with humans. No. But it is related to us and all the, through Homo erectus.
Right, right. And
then see Homo laziensis, this is Homo erectus probably. Homo florensis, probably Homo erectus. So, and then Homo naledi came from Homo erectus.
Okay.
So you understand?
Yep.
And then let's read Homo longi, because some people are trying to say this is, once again relates to Chinese and stuff. Tell me why it doesn't.
Is an extinct species of archaic human identified from a nearly complete skull named Dragon Man from the Harbin of the Northeast China Plain, dating at minimum 146,000 years ago.
Okay, so 140, we can stop there. 146. I want you to scroll down.
Okay.
To way down. We're going to get down to humans. I just want you really quick to show why that there's no way that happened. Yeah. So I'm trying to say is that they're trying to say the Dragon Man is 146,000 years old. I'm trying to say why it didn't relate to anybody in China.
Right.
Everybody alive today is under 80,000, maybe because K2b I think is like 55 or something. So, and even if it was 65, it's still, that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's under 80,000.
Right. Like
people left Africa and got to China under 80,000, probably closer to 60,000, maybe even less than that.
Right.
Or maybe there was two branches, but either branch, let's just assume they got their 100,000. That's still 45,000 years after that thing went extinct.
Right.
Yeah.
So it can't be related then.
No. You get what I'm trying to say? No.
Yeah.
Or at least for the evidence we have now, to be more accurate, we're going to go back up to the top again. But the evidence we have now, that's not reasonable. Right? So I'm trying to show you is like how you make reasoned things, Cory. Not just to tell you what the answer is, but to tell you like how you get there. Why it's not reasoned is it goes extinct and humans hadn't even shown up yet. So unless you're a necromancer.
Right. Yeah.
No. You get my point? So I'm trying to, and all I'm trying to say is that the Chinese, I don't know if it's essentialism or racism or race realism or whatever mythical something, who knows? I mean, I don't know, so I don't know why. But to think that they don't come from all their humans, you know what I'm saying? Like they're something different. Yeah. Well, I'm just showing you that's not true. You didn't come from the Dragon Man. You didn't come from the Peking Man. That was a nice story. It wasn't true.
It doesn't entirely even surprise me that there's a group of people who want their culture to be superior because it's older or based in some kind of like more earlier evolution or whatever. Like you see that all the time from white supremacists. So
right, yeah, right, and this is Chinese, but yes,
So-
in a sense, what they're saying is we don't relate to other humans, which is a total nonsense. Like, yes, the fuck you do.
Yeah, that's
Sorry to break the news to you, but no. But I do agree, they want to be something else, and so they can be something also just in Asia.
right.
Because there's no other of Homo longi.
It provides them a kind of purity of
almost, right? Yeah, exactly. Like some sort of racial purity because you come from the Delani man, or Dragon man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, wrong. Because it's 146,000 years, and we weren't even there 100,000 years ago. So thank you for playing. No, and even if we got there 120, that would still be too late.
Yeah, that's right. It would still have gone extinct before you arrived there.
Right. It's like trying to show like how I know that's the answer, because I always want to figure out what the truth. That's why I don't like when people say the truth doesn't, is an opinion. It's not. Maybe to you it is. But mine sure as fuck try not to be.
Yeah, that's right.
But so anyways, the next thing is showing the dawn of the Florensis, and I just show how Homo erectus, the red arrow, leaves Africa, and it goes to that one island, and then just a little tiny bit further island is the Homo florensis.
Right.
So to think it didn't evolve from that is like, well, what other hominid are you going to put out there? No one else even got there. Only Homo erectus. So it's not like let's make a deal here.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, I don't care to read about that. I just wanted to show you. So the next map is talking about out of Africa.
Yep.
And do you see this is supposedly out of Africa, Homo erectus, by the way. Sorry.
Okay.
And this, you see how they try to say it all the way to China?
Right.
And came all the way back to Spain.
Oh, geez, eh? Yeah,
Right?
this is the wrong one then.
This is the wrong one. And then actually this thing, even if you go to this blog, see what the question mark?
Oh, yeah. The first hominin
marks, because actually they debunked this. They say this can't be true. So I was just bringing it up.
Okay.
I probably should actually add that it's not true. Anyways. So then there's another one to me that once again is not true.
Right. So another one of these
says that they went through Turkey.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Right. See, I should put I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I should add that. Well, because now that I'm thinking, I'm like, I think that I explained enough, but I should probably say I'm adding this as a reference of that's wrong.
Right. Yeah. That's always a good thing to add in there.
I should probably do that because I know things and I forget sometimes that you don't know. And I thought I already told you the correct answer, so this is obviously wrong. And I even told you that this was one of the wrong theories. But I probably should write that.
It sure wouldn't hurt.
It wouldn't hurt. Damien, you should help the people out. You're not helping them enough. Right. So that's wrong. And here's another one. Also wrong.
Also wrong.
Probably maybe less wrong about the China stuff. I don't know. But
right. Yeah.
But this thing about how people got to Spain. Yeah. That's
still wrong. Yeah.
Wrong. Or how about this? Even if there was a branch that did that, it has nothing to do with the Desovians, the Homo erectus, Homo heidelbergus, or the Neanderthal, because we know they were in Africa.
Right.
So even if I'm just making a point, even if they're like, well, I've seen artifact, I'm going to go, that's a cool story, bro, because that's not what made those.
That's not the ancestor question mark.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not. Okay. So some other hominid moved around over there. Interesting to know that, but actually it's not who you think it is.
Yeah.
So I do need to I need to write that for both of those to make it better. Then here's another thing, just showing all the breakdowns and then showing DNA moving around or artifacts moving around to give you a
oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of movement. But since we know, then you notice they're not showing you the arrows like I did at the beginning to show you what actually kind of happened. They're just having different ones jump all over the place like this. Not, I don't feel
it's not particularly detailed in a helpful way.
No, but it does show there's multiple things. It also shows the years they're splitting off. But that's And then this one, the next picture is of the Dimanisani, whatever, hominids. These are the ones I was telling you is the stocky dwarfs or whatever.
Okay.
So but they don't once again relate to us. So cool, but not super related. And then here's another next picture is showing the different sites and when the Paleolithic times and when they happened. Like the colors, like red means the certain time frame.
Okay. Yeah.
There's also the thing in the middle, like where it says Oldowan, it's a stone tool, a more advanced. Well, it's more like a half chipped rock. Oldowan, the next, or I can't remember pronounce it, but the next stone tool, that one is more like where, remember they said early Stone Age.
Yeah.
It looks like that, and then the mountain steering is sort of an in between. The Neanderthals did that we picked up and started. Same time we learned how to bury from the Neanderthals, probably.
Okay.
Anyways, it just shows what these different things are, and what that mountain steering and the red right there that happened in Israel or whatever, Palestine, somewhere over there. And then the next picture is talking about the common ancestor. See where it says 750 to 550.
Right.
It's not saying the 600 like the other person did or 650 like the video did.
Right.
Because those are, like I told you, or what they're doing is trying to simplify it and just give you the middle number. This is the actual range. And what that means is before this point, it's in Africa. This needs to be understood. In North Africa.
Right.
So that's what that common ancestor. And then it goes into Spain. When it goes into Spain, it is somewhere either in Africa. There's a couple things that could have started there, and then goes in as Homo heidelbergus. And then the first break is from Homo heidelbergus is Desovians, who go all the way to Asia. And then it's Neanderthals. And the first Neanderthals, I told you about 450. And at this cave system in Spain, this is where that burial of the 28 bodies with the stone tool on it. So they're one of the first burials. I talk about the first burial because of this anyways. But this was actually when they checked the DNA, that's when they found all this out. They figured it out because of the DNA. So 430,000-year-old DNA. And that's when they figured out how Neanderthals, the Soviets, how all this relates. And so then we'll skip down to the next picture. I'm not trying to read all the stuff because I think I feel like you said about the hour video. I think it's so dense. If we add more, it doesn't help. It hurts.
Right. Yeah. There's
Unless
a limit.
You're reading the blog
yeah.
yourself. Yeah. Listening to it just will become mind-numbingly bunch of stuff. But definitely, you should, if you want to understand more or read more, go to the blog. This isn't supposed to be, in a sense, the blog, but
right,
like
right.
an explanation to help with the blog. Which, like I said, actually, I'm going to go write some more about those two things because I realized probably should highlight that I don't agree with these. Anyway, so then, but I want to show it's there. I'm not trying to hide it. This is what they used to believe, and to me, the DNA makes that wrong.
Yeah.
And so this right here talks about the prehistory of Iberia or Spain, and this where Spain is a part of. And it's showing you, like I told you, at the 1.5 to 1.25. And but that doesn't have that DNA is not related to the Neanderthal or the whatever. So it was Homo erectus that went up there themselves.
That's the Homo erectus that went there before it became the other thing.
Right. The other thing involved though in Africa, and then also went over.
Yeah.
And it went over sometime between 750 to 550.
Right.
It crossed over into there. So then the next picture is my what I used to call this progressed superstition. Like I don't think it's full religion, but this is definitely something going on. See, then go ahead and read it. 430.
430,000 years ago, Stemma de la Huesos, pit of bones, Atapuerca, Spain, seeming evidence of intentional storing of 28 individuals in a cave chamber pit, a symbolic pseudo-womb, and a reddish quartzite tool found with the bodies seems like a kind of ritual funeral offering in this possible early cemetery.
Right. And like I said, too, it's not 100% sure that that was intentional, but it sure does seem like it, especially since
Right.
it's not really used. So, but someone could have just made it and fell in. So I'm not 100% can't debunk that, you know. But to me, it looks like it's obviously the bodies are put in there. So the fact that it's on top of all the bodies does seem relevant.
Right.
That's always my speculations. I think it's a reasonable speculation to say that that could have been a sacred offering, or at least that was an intentional, you know, burial sort of ground or something.
Yeah.
But not a burial, like, you know, crypt or whatever. So then this is the next picture. This shows the green arrows show the ways the Neanderthal moved once they evolved. And so when you get, like I said, that this shows only 200,000 years ago, right? It shows the first green arrow. But I already showed you 430 in that cave of bones.
Right.
Is, or maybe 450 before it, just a little bit, is the first Neanderthals.
Mm-hmm.
So they start in Spain, just to help you understand, because this is showing once again, like they're coming, you know, from France.
Right.
No, they came from Spain, which is a little bit further. It's part of the yellow, you know, where this all the yellow is Neanderthal or area. So it's more, you know, towards the, you know, Spain, like I said.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that far from France, so it's not like the tip of Spain or something, but it's definitely not in France. But anyway, so they're just showing you that they evolved from there. Then they go to did the first burial. Then those Neanderthals evolve and go to France, and then to Germany, and then they go to, you know, the Balkans by 120 or whatever, and then by 120 they're in Israel burying the Neanderthal woman.
Oh, okay.
Is the first burial there. Anyways, but the first Croatia, which is like sort of on the way of these arrows in Europe, where it says Kaprna. Do you see that?
Yep.
Caprina. That is where the Neanderthals did their first burial.
Oh,
And then
okay.
their second burial is in Israel or Palestine. So you can tell they start in Spain, then they go to Capria. So they bury a bunch of bodies. They go to Capria and actually do kind of like a barely a burial,
right?
Like a half burial or something. Like kind of dig a pit and lay them in, and then kind of bury them also. So that's why some people say it's a contested burial. Well, kind of a burial. Then they go pretty much a burial. Then it goes to Israel, and then they do a burial. And then 100,000 they do a burial, and then humans copy them and also do stuff. And then humans don't. A human woman goes all the way from there up into see where it says 100,000.
Oh yeah,
100,000 to 90,000 goes up into Destinevant cave.
Right.
So that some human woman was taken by Neanderthal and put up in Destinevant cave 100,000 years ago or 90,000 years ago. She's up there. But anyway, but rest of the humans, they didn't die there. They do not stay there. They don't go further. They go back into Africa and bring this new technology. This new religion stuff of burial and red ochre and stuff like that. So this just shows you how they're all related, though, right? So it's not like, oh, there just was Neanderthals willy-nilly everywhere. I'm like, no, we know pretty much exactly what happened. Once again, somebody knows.
Somebody knows.
Right. So this is a relative thing. Like I said, but even this map is not showing they actually start in Spain. That would have been helpful. But then here's another map, right? It's also showing sort of where they think Neanderthals went. And they could have been somewhere in between these two, but this is what they've found so far. This blue.
Right.
Yeah, just to give you an idea. So like I was already saying. Then the next picture shows you the first humans and the oldest stuff and what's going on. And you see 300,000 over in North Africa.
Yeah.
And if you see South Africa, it says 235,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I told you they get all the way to South Africa, and then they go north. See 160, 195 in East Africa.
Right.
That's because they left South Africa. But we'll go. The next picture is about the Moroccan hominids, and see it says 350 because it's possible they got. See it says right here. Go ahead and read it.
Sure. Fossils from Morocco suggest the Homo sapiens lineage became distinct as early as 350,000 years ago, adding as much as 150,000 years to our species history, as before it was assumed our human line emerged around 200,000 years ago. Moreover, Homo sapiens-like fossils in South Africa have been tentatively dated at 260,000 years old.
Right. And so the thing you have to understand, like I told you, is that's why before I thought everyone came from South Africa, because they're older than 200,000 in South Africa.
Right.
So when people are like, well, the humans come from East Africa because there's things of 195,000 years old. I'm like, well, there's older than 200 in South Africa.
Yeah.
Anyways. But once again, why that's important is because we need to really know the accuracy of what happened. And also, I told you it matches my idea of how animism starts in South Africa, but the ideas probably came from Neanderthals coming down back into Africa. But not the Neanderthals, humans moved back down. But see, I don't think it got down right away. It gets down there like maybe 80, 90,000. So it takes a while, 10,000 years, once again, evolution.
Right.
It's a process because the next burial is actually in East Africa. The oldest human burial is actually in Israel or Palestine. And then at 100,000, it has a red ochre like the Neanderthals. It has stone tools in the area that are Neanderthal inspired. That what I told you before, they've done tests. It takes days, not like one time to learn.
Right.
So it had to have been taught, and then we're obviously burying like them. So either they taught us or we saw it and we copied, but it's very close to the same, and they've been doing it before us,
right?
At least 30,000 years before us. So yeah. Anyway, so. The reason why all that's also important is the brain. So this next picture is really about how the brain changed. 300,000, right? The brain shows the size. And the blue part means it had not gotten bigger on the outside. Then the second one still has a little blue because our brains are still bigger by 10,000. See what I'm saying? Right. So it also shows you that the thing behind the brain, I don't remember all the names of the parts of the brain, so sorry, but if you notice that in the bottom picture, it shows blue. What that actually means is more neurons than the beginning ones. So not even just size change, which there's some of that too.
More activity too.
That's correct. There's more, and there's way more in the back than the other one had almost nothing. So it just shows that we're evolving. Yeah. And then also it shows here 300,000 wolf tooth in Austria, right? So this is probably related to maybe Neanderthal, maybe Homo heidelbergus. I don't know, but probably Neanderthal. But my point is, so they're already doing this jewelry, right? But this is not crazy because we know for sure at 130, which is still, a lot of years from 300, but at 130, but I'm just saying, we still, just because we haven't found it doesn't mean it's not there. There could be other stuff in between this, but I'm just saying we do know for a fact that's a pendant. And then later, they may also make pendants, a whole bunch of them, eagle talons, like a whole necklace of them. So we know they did this early. Yeah. 130, they're doing, and I told you they'll wear black feathers and stuff and probably paint themselves black and goth looking. Kind of cool. Anyways, my point is, so they start that, not us. That's all I was trying to say. Is people seem to be like, oh, well, we made the first symbolic, gestures of culture. I'm like, well, would you call a necklace charm culture? They say, absolutely. That's what makes humans different. I'm like, okay, well, Neanderthals did it first. Yeah. Yeah. Well, burial. Okay, Neanderthals did it first.
Don't give yourself too much credit.
You get what I'm trying to say is that we're not the only brilliant person. That's also another thing I really hate about IQ stuff.
Yeah.
Is every great idea that's ever happened is not only limited to people with high IQ.
No.
Right? I mean, some brilliant ideas are people that are just, desiring to solve a problem or something.
Exactly.
They don't even have to be that intelligent. They just know, like, I've done this 10,000 times, and this has
got to be a better way.
It could be done like this, and it would be just so much better. And then you do it that way. You're like, oh, that was the right way, and that person's not a genius. I'm just making a comment. I really don't. That's also why I really do not buy into the vanguard bullshit. That sounds to me like, well, the superior people will run the shit. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
To me personally, I'm just saying, because it's saying that the people that are the most, class conscious,
right,
of the workers.
Yeah.
Okay. And who voted on that? And how do we know that that's actually the only thing that matters? It's like I told you too, especially when you understand axiology. I would say, oh, so you have the logical, the justice perspective. Where did the care come in? Because I know you have to have some of that too. You can't just I already know this, because I know that all justice, no care, all care, no justice. So you need to have, I think, a little bit of both reasonably, but I'm not saying you can get both. Every choice is an either or. It's just how much are you giving up care? How much are you giving up justice? But like I said, if you understand morality, those aren't really super hard things. Should we care about a kid not knowing what they're doing and not hold them accountable the same as a 35-year-old? Well, obviously, yes. So I'm not saying don't do it reasoned.
Of course.
I'm actually the opposite. Only do it reasoned. But grasp that reason isn't against emotions. Reason isn't against care.
Right.
This thought that the only reason I bring that up is some people in the atheist movement that are probably just right-wingers or conservatives or whatever have some bigotry, because otherwise, why would they fight so hard for it?
Yeah, that's right.
They're like, it is only this. You have to be reason always. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But reason would understand you need care. What the fuck? I mean, a life without love, because you're saying only the logical. So you mean nothing emotional. So no love.
Yeah,
ever?
That's right.
You think we can survive that way? I already told you, they did a study. It doesn't work. You want to kill yourself, you go fucking insane. No, that's why to me, the hierarchy of needs to put love somewhere closer to food.
They also tend to like what we would have called the rational bros or whatever. Like they often tend to use they point at rationalism, they point at science, and they use it to excuse their bigotry, which is to say that they are making emotional decisions without reason and then using the veneer of science to justify it.
Yeah, exactly. Just like people are like, oh, Damien, don't you think it's really extreme with this trans stuff? And I go, you know what's extreme is that we have evidence of trans probably or intersex probably going back about 30,000 years ago. And that we still have dumb fucks today saying it's not natural.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what's fucking odd to me. Not anything to do with what trans people want in human rights. No, it's your bigotry that's been 30,000 years wrong, at least.
Which
that's
part,
the part
yeah. Which part of the trans people needing human rights is too extreme? Like, what does that mean?
No part, and this was really crazy, I told you too. Okay, even if we bought that was somehow an issue that affects their life, because it doesn't. But let's assume it doesn't. So maybe they're homophobic. I don't know. Maybe that's that. But other than that, in no rational way are they affecting your life. Let's put it that way. So in your emotions, you don't like it. Oh, okay. Who gives a fuck? So, but anyway, so the what happens to me is they, like you said, they tried to say it's not natural, and I already said we know it is. Science has proved it is. And let's assume even if it wasn't, what is wrong?
So
it's
what?
like I've changed my name. Should you be offended by that? Do you see how stupid that is? Really?
Yeah.
What do you give a fuck? I'm just making a comment. In fact, I changed my middle name to female. Does that bother you? It bothered the fuck out of my mom because she's obviously was bigoted about it, homophobic.
Right.
Like, oh, if your middle name is a female, how will they know you're a man? And I go, see, I feel like you have not been listening. I told you I'm genderqueer. You always called me dramatic because you didn't say gay because I wasn't gay, but I still, to you, acted gay,
Right.
or certainly gender non-normative.
Right.
So much that they constantly, you always go, oh, you're just dramatic. And I was like, that sounds like an insult, really, how you say that.
The way they say it, yeah, for sure.
You're not supporting me being, as you say, dramatic. But anyway, so I said, do you think I chose? This one person said, yeah, I should be proud to be intersex. And I said, I'm not. I'm not ashamed, but I'm not proud. I didn't want this. I didn't choose this. It's not like, I'm not saying people that are trans or drag queens or gay choose that, but other people feel like they choose that, right? They don't. But because I know that myself too. That's what I was trying to make a point. I didn't choose to be intersex. In fact, if I would have had a choice and they say, would you like to be born either male or female or something in between that's kind of more male? I would have gone, just male. Why
probably, yeah.
Is it going to affect my life? Oh, it's going to be terrible. People are going to make fun of you. So, oh, fuck no, then. You know what I'm saying?
Can I pick the easy one?
Like, yeah, I would love
I want the easier one.
Born cis. So I'm not. Well, that's not a shame or to put down intersex people. I'm just saying, extra problems in my life for no reason. Do you really think I would choose that?
Right.
Seriously, fuck no. So I'm not being mean against people who are intersex. I'm just saying the experience isn't great. Society is a piece of shit. If I had a choice, I certainly would not have chosen that. And then that is just how I was born, how my body presents itself. My body does not 100% present itself as male. I know maybe from not clothed it looks like that. But my point is, inside is also different. There are people that are born intersex, no matter what their outsides look like, they feel their gender is a certain gender. They could feel male, female, trans, they can feel genderqueer like me. I'm only, I think it's like 10 or 3% or something that claim to be like dual gender. So but once again, and that's because people probably also don't feel comfortable. Most people probably just say they're just like trans people did before in their life often. They'll just say, well, I'm just male or I'm just female. I'm just cis. I'm not. They just fucking lie, because society fucking sucks and doesn't, support people that are like that, even though we fucking exist.
Yeah, that's right.
And anyway, so I also, my gender, I never felt like a guy, and I constantly would do the wrong thing all the fucking time. They're like, you like plays? You like poetry? Oh my God. Don't you like football? Oh, I hate fucking football. I hate fucking sports. It doesn't make any sense. I see people just running back and forth. No. And they're like, oh my God. And I didn't like doing cars, and I didn't like just tons of male shit. And it wasn't like I was intentionally rejecting it. I just literally didn't care for it.
Right.
And just tons of things, just tons and tons of stuff. I can keep going. And most of my relationships super short, and almost all of them say it's like dating a woman or something. How you act and think. And so that's what I mean by it's not something I would have fucking chose. I couldn't keep a fucking relationship. Friends didn't like me because I told you I had that pink bike.
Right.
And I showed them, and then they're like, oh my God, at least you can repaint it. And I'm like, what do you mean repaint it? I painted it this color. Like, well, maybe you can take the pink, stuff off the handles. I had to buy that at a specialty store. I'm just saying it really, so I lost friends. It hurt me. People, didn't want to be around me. They thought I was gay.
Right.
And so I had homophobia, and I'm not gay, but my gender is not totally male, and they seem to be able to tell.
Yeah.
But so I'm just making a comment. So I didn't choose it. So I feel like really ridiculous that's also like when they go to Damien, what do you feel about trans? I don't feel like I almost experienced that. So, being genderqueer, I'm talking about my intersex. That's the different, which I also had issues, but my gender, being dual gender is another way. I don't say bi gender because then think I'm talking about bisexual. I'm like, oh my God, no. Bi gender. I feel some male, some female, more male than female, but I really don't feel comfortable actually in either.
Right.
So that's why it's one guy says, oh, maybe you're just trans and you're ashamed. I'm like, first off, don't tell other people what the fuck they are.
No shit. Like,
right?
When you're discussing gender, listen, don't tell.
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me. And it was a trans person telling me, and I should be proud to be trans. I said, you should be proud to be trans. But that's nothing to do with me personally. I don't think that I'm so far away being genderqueer and the fact that I was not born in the right body. See what I'm saying? So that me and that and them, I relate to that totally. Yeah. How I look on the outside of my life goes, you look so male, Damien. No one's ever going to believe how female you are. And I go, and I stopped caring that they don't know. It doesn't matter. I just tell it for activism. I don't do it because I try to. It's for activism. And also because I want people to understand, how could I not be sympathetic to trans when literally that almost is how I feel?
Right.
Not exactly. They feel they're still in the gender binary, right? Often. And I don't. But to feel that my gender doesn't match my body, I feel that totally. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So in that sense, I do feel like a trans person because I feel I was not born in the right fucking body for what my gender is.
Right.
I should look more feminine to me. And also, if I did look more feminine, see, then society would go, oh, well, then you're just acting because you're more feminine. The problem is I look male, and then I want to do feminine, so they think, well, you got to be gay. Because they don't have any idea that gender actually, and this I read a bunch of stuff on it. But it's like 80% of people that have gender issues often also have sexual, different than heterosexual or whatever.
Right.
So it is, that's probably why most people look at, well, that person seems that, they probably are. Well, 80% of the time, you're going to be right because that's kind of common.
I suppose, yeah.
I'm saying study.
I'm just not a fan of putting people into boxes. Like,
well, yes, Well, my point I'm trying to say is, it's a lot more than people think. It's not.
Yeah. I find like. Yeah,
but I also
they make assumptions based on what their experiences is, but yeah, it's not up to me to tell you how you should feel about these things, right?
Well, you're certainly not telling me I have the wrong thing,
right? Yeah,
especially when I just told you. I've had gay guys go, "Are you sure you're intersex?" I'm like, a doctor told me. This is not something I went and fucking found for myself and thought I need to be this.
Right.
I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like people also are just unthoughtful. Do you really think that that's what's going on?
Yeah.
Like seriously. So if that was true, what am I, a fucking liar? I mean, it's just what the fuck?
Man, that's weird.
Anyway, so I'm just saying that all this stuff though, to me still goes back to like the reason that we act more communal is because of this. And so I think my real personality, if I wouldn't have been abused severely, is I would be very communal and caring and loving because that's more how I feel inside. You know what I'm saying? But then being abused and hit, you kicking a dog enough times, that dog just starts biting everybody.
Yep.
Because it gets, harmed. Anyway, so let's go down to the next picture. And this is showing once again the different DNAs. Or artifacts and where they found them. 300,000.
Yeah.
Just showing you some of the different ones.
Okay.
Go ahead and read it.
Yeah, so we've got the Jebel Irud.
This was just DNA.
Sure. DNA taken from a Neanderthal leg bone found in a German cave hinted at much earlier encounters between the two species, dating back more than 200,000 years. Neanderthal DNA sequences from Altai Cave in Siberia, as well as from Spain and Croatia, that show evidence of human Neanderthal interbreeding as far back as 100,000 years ago. Approximately 1 to 4% of the genomes of non-African modern humans, although a modern human who lived around about 40,000 years ago, has been found to have between 6 to 9% Neanderthal DNA.
Right. So, like I said, we already know though how that they, because this is just showing us and telling us like information. But I showed you how it moved around and what happened. Then here's the 300,000. Next picture is where the 300,000-year-old was found.
Okay.
And the next picture is hard to see, but it shows like where humans.
Oh yeah.
We left and went all over the place. Once again, you can see it's not hyperdiffusion since it's multiple ways doing multiple things.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I told you that hyperdiffusion is. This is small and hard to see, but
this is clearly not that. So
not that. It's not everyone went south and then eventually, we went back north. No, hyperdiffusion is nonsense. But anyway, so this next picture shows you sort of what happened. With the male DNA. And like I said, there is male DNA that actually does go down to South Africa with the female, because the females go down and then they go back up. But the one, once again, about important, the DNA that actually becomes the male humans doesn't do that. It goes straight over to East Africa. Just to help you understand, that's why it's a little bit different. Because I'm showing you the difference. They still come from the same place. And they both start in where it says A, but one of them goes down to South Africa with the female, which turns into L, and then she comes back up and meets the male CT. L3 meets CT in East Africa. Yeah, you get that?
Yep. Oh, that's cool.
So, anyways, then that's called that one the where it's A thing. That is called Y chromosome atom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so you can click on that. And it brings you to Y chromosome atom. Go ahead and read what it says.
Sure. In human genetics, the Y chromosomal atom, or more technically known as the Y chromosomal most recent common ancestor, shortened to YMRCA, is the patrilineal most recent common ancestor from whom all currently living humans are descended. He is the most recent.
So you can stop there. That's what I'm. See, all living humans are descended.
Yeah.
Right. That is why we don't show the one going south. Now, if you look at the picture over on the corner, you see it. It shows that the Y, right? It shows one of them turns into CT, but a different one went down to South Africa.
Right.
I'm just trying to show you. I know I didn't show that because I wasn't on that other green thing I drew, because I was just trying to show you I didn't want to confuse you with all these fucking lines all over the place. But I'm just saying, do you see that it went to South Africa, and that's how the females went to South Africa? So they didn't go by themselves. I'm just helping people grasp this. I know this is hard, but often people went together. Couples.
What? Not just one by one by one.
Yeah, no, no. The Bible's a lie. So let's go back. Hit back arrow to go back to the blog. So then to go to mitochondrial atom is the next picture. See the next picture? See how the same thing, just bigger. So it goes down M6, right? That's the male. But you notice that DNA doesn't go nowhere. The arrow goes down. That's it, because it didn't. What do they call that? Populate our humans.
Okay.
So they're an ancestor, but they're not direct. Then the next picture. The next picture is the female. And see, it also shows in Jezebel. See, it says 320, and then it goes down to 300.
Yep.
And then it goes down to South Africa, 230. See, and then it says see, it tells you which one. So it's YA1. You see that? It's telling you which DNA. Yeah. And the other one, like that's the ones at the bottom. It's like the green. Yep. The green one at the bottom. I'm going to start at the beginning top. So never mind. If you look on the picture above, right, the male DNA picture where it has the Y going south, becoming A, whatever. Yeah. If you notice, B came off of the one that went to CT.
Right. It kind of curled around there.
So that tells you that a later migration came down to south. How you know that is because the female D is telling you that. Because see, the first one, just to go, the 320, when I start at the beginning to show you. See, it says MTL. That means just the L is up there. That's the female DNA L. And then in the Y is talking about the male. The male DNA is AOA1.
Right.
And then the next one, it says, when it goes down to 300,000, that's MTL still.
Yep.
But now it's AOO.
Right.
Then it goes down further.
So that's different dudes.
That's different dudes. See, Cory's getting this. Yes. Or they evolved, one of the two, right? So
okay, yeah.
It's not the same thing. It looks like the same female, but it doesn't look like it's exactly the same male.
Right.
So then they evolved. So then the next one you see is has two different ones. This is what this is telling you. There's two different ones. There's LO, which I think is older, and then L1, which is younger. And it's saying LO had a male partner of A1.
Right.
And then L1 female had a partner of B.
So now these are different dudes and different women.
See? Now we're on the same page, are we not? Doesn't it help if you can look at this and know what it's talking about?
Yeah, for sure.
So also when people say that we don't know, Cory, do we know, Cory?
We definitely know some things, that's for sure.
We know some things. Yeah. It's not let's make a deal, anything is possible. Like when they always say, oh, anything is possible, we don't know. I'm like, you don't know, we don't know. And anything is not possible. So then it says MT was L5.
Right.
The female was L5, and then the male was A3B, and then another male of B2A. So two different ones, again, like you said.
Right.
So one female, two different dudes. And they're also not the same as the other ones.
Okay. Yeah.
See, and then it says, then they go out of Africa, and the female was L3, because everything after L3 is in Africa. And then the male, it says CDEF. And that just means a common ancestor. It's not actually all those numbers, but
okay. There's not like a bunch of different dudes.
Yeah, it's probably CT, and then CT's two branches are CF and DE, and then anyways, and E actually goes back to Africa. But anyway, so the next picture, I know it can be confusing, but I'm trying to help.
For sure.
I think it's helping.
Yeah.
So then here's another picture, shows the female DNA and kind of shows you LOC and then L1. And then it has L2 is went back to East Africa or Central Africa by 90,000 or so, or 110 or something.
Right. We're getting more and more recent here now.
Right. See, and then L3 at somewhere between 57,000 to 87,000 years ago, because that's what that KA means, thousands of years ago.
Right.
So L3, N goes one way, maybe N goes another way, but they both, in a sense, almost go to the same spot. That's also why I show them basically just going to the same spot to make it easier to understand.
Yeah.
Because they both, in a sense, leave that area somewhere between 60 to 45,000 and then go to other places. And that's where all humans come from. So even though those ones that were earlier, they don't relate to us today. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Only just like the same thing. See, AM6, I don't know if that's still existing, but out of Africa, the CT, everybody comes from that. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Go back to the male one.
Right.
Remember, we're on the female one with L1.
Yeah.
You go two up. Remember the CT?
Yep. Yeah, with the black lines coming out of them.
Right. Exactly. They're going out of Africa. The other stuff, like see the J, that stuff's coming back in. So I wouldn't even put that.
Right.
Well, because I mean, are you trying to make it more confusing? You have all this stuff leaving Africa, then you have shit coming back in and different. Oh God, man.
Yeah, it's like, well, what is this stuff coming back in for?
Well, and I know more than that does. So that if you're gonna put it, you need to put more, but then it would be harder to read. So, anyways, So let's go down to the my art of LO, where it says LO, LOK, LOF, LOB, LOA. It's telling you the time frames this stuff happened more exact.
Oh yeah, yep.
And how you get to the Khoisan people and how they're different than other Africans.
Okay.
Even though, like I said, we're all the same, but it just shows how they break down and which ones. See, the non-Africans, that would be everybody else. The non-Africans.
Right.
So everyone else in the world is that last little piece. Yeah, everything else is that. And that's why they always say there's more genetic diversity in Africa, because we're on one little branch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things. We're one of them.
Right.
All the other ones are part of Africa. It just shows that we evolved in Africa.
Yeah.
Not that you had any doubts. I'm just saying.
But it is pretty good. Like that you say, like non-Africans is just like this fucking one little branch out of like all of humanity. It's like,
right.
Huh.
All the branches. Yeah. So most of the branches are in Africa, and then the littlest branch that left made all these other things. So, but anyways, I just trying to show you too how we evolve and how it's all moving around. So people, they're like, oh well, we don't know, and so I'm trying to show you we do know, and it's confusing, but we do know.
Yeah.
It's not we don't know exactly. We have more than just speculation. And then the next picture just shows how you get to the Hadza and how when the pastoralists moved and when the people from the Neo-Saharan moved 2,200 years ago, and when people came from the Middle East,
right,
or the Cossack Mountains or whatever, or from Spain. Just shows the different times people came and did stuff. Okay. Anyways, go ahead and read where it says Khoisan and Hadza people.
Khoisan and Hadza peoples of southern Africa. The Kokhoan people have an indigenous nomadic pastoralist culture, and the San people have an indigenous hunter-gatherer culture, which is one of the oldest surviving cultures of the region. The Hadza people, who have an indigenous hunter-gatherer culture, were a pre-Bantu expansion culture not closely related to Khoisan speakers.
Right. So the next picture just gives you like a rough draft of the female line sort of and the male line together coming out of South Africa.
Okay.
That's where also to me, like I said, the female does. And then that's also where the religion is going at the same time. That when they left, that religion that got moved out of there came from Africa. It went all the way 55,000 years ago. You see that arrow goes all the way to Australia. 55,000 years ago, there's a bear in Australia that looks like one's in Africa. At 100,000.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just saying, so we know that the religion, as we already talked about, it's crazy. But even the long time ago, 100,000 years ago, people took their religion with them. I know it's crazy, but that still happens today.
They weren't like, I'm moving, fuck all this.
Right.
I'm starting
new thing. No, people bring their culture with them. It's like, like if you were to leave Canada now, you would really never not be a Canadian, no matter where.
Yeah. Good luck.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, same as me. I mean, if I move somewhere else, even like right now, I live in Florida, but I still act like a Californian.
Right.
To me, where I was from like Los Angeles and stuff in Orange County. So I act like where I'm from, even though I'm now living somewhere else. That doesn't really ever, like, after a certain age, you pretty much imprint, and that's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, but that's all culture stuff.
That's right.
But anyways, I'm just talking about, but that's what I'm trying to say though, is that has not changed. That is, so when you think about the past, that's why it's not wrong to think that ideas move. We know they did.
Yeah, for sure.
And this just shows that they also moved the same way the DNA did, and that's how Damien knows things are related, as one of the many ways that I do.
Yeah.
And so then let's go down to the next picture. now this is showing South Africa, and it's basically saying all the populations before sort of disappeared, died out, and or went down to South Africa, and then from South Africa, of course, this is talking about the female line, South Africa, because the male line did a little different as far as who we are today, because this is talking about who we are today and how they repopulated Africa and then everything else. So they spread, of course, also their tool technology, not just religion, but also their religion or burial things and everything. So there's a time when almost all of Africa is almost doing this similar thing. Of course, they have specialization because evolution is a fact. Same thing with religions. You're like, well, how can you explain that religion is different than the one here, but it's related? I'm like, evolution.
Yeah.
How did one time there was languages that were one language and now shitloads of languages? Yeah, evolution. But anyways, this just shows the facts. It shows a blow up of all the specific sites in South Africa that we have, and so you see a lot of X's, right? So there's a lot of sites.
Yeah, eh?
And that's just trying to. And there's a thing that lists a lot of the stuff. We're not going to read all this, but all these sites are listed. But it's just to show you that it's not one. It's not, because once again, it's not Adam, like one person, or Eve, one person. It's a whole group of people.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, when we say it's a different dude, we don't mean it's literally one different dude. It's like
right. But anyways, we're not going to read that stuff.
Okay.
But then I do want you to read this. This is my art, and then also this talks about DNA. So go ahead. One human family.
All right, so One Human Family, the Human Genome Project confirmed that the genetics of 3 billion humans are 99.9% identical in every person, and on average, we are only 0.1 different genetically from every other person on the planet. Let that sink in. Can you now see that we need to step up and evolve our humanity to the level of being we have already evolved into as high-thinking primates, of which we like to think highly about ourselves? What this means is that there is a real need to likewise evolve the concepts on family to what it really is, being that we are all part of one human family. Damien Marie AtHope.
And what do you think of that?
I think it's dead on. Yeah, like we are, essentially all the same family. It's like,
right, and I've showed you all the connections.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid how we hate.
Yeah. It's very strange, in fact, like to think that any supposed race is superior to another when we are literally 0.1% genetically different.
It's not rational.
It's not rational.
It's an unrational emotional bigotry.
Yeah.
It literally, when you know the facts, it doesn't make sense.
No.
It's like acting like we live on a different planet and then seeing the Earth from the moon and realizing, oh, it actually is the same planet.
Yeah, that's right.
And you realize that what's really wrong is our perspective. The realities hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But our perspective is terrible. It's limited. It's bigoted.
Yeah.
So the next picture shows the out of Africa male line. This is just male line. And then what the DNAs were and how they moved around. This is all male line.
Okay.
And so P1, R2A is what gave birth to P1, Q, and R.
Okay.
And R2, K2, did I say K2? Yeah, K2. K2A relates to P1, Q, and R. And of course, R is all the Europeans, and Q is like 95% of South Americans and Mexico and all that, Mesoamerica. And Siberians, and that's the Siberian language that is Jensen. But anyways, and then R relates to sort of the language of Indo-European. But K2B down here at the bottom with Tiananmen Man in China, that relates to N and O down in China. because N and O are related to the ones that started the first pottery.
Ah.
And O goes to southern Japan, and then N goes to northern Japan, and N also ends up going to Siberia and giving the technology of pottery, which then they take to the Middle East, and they also take to Europe. And from the Middle East and Europe, they both go into Africa, and so that's how Africa gets pottery. So we're like, oh, well, Egyptians got pottery. They must have invented it. I'm like, Chinese invented pottery 20,000 years ago, and it went all over the fucking place.
Right.
Anyways, so, but I'm just trying to show you these different. So once again, the DNAs are splitting off. So but we still, once again, all come from Africa and all really are related to the same, stuff. It's stupid. Yeah. So K2 is A is supposed to, who are European, are supposed to hate the K2B,
right? Who
are Chinese. You know what I'm saying? Or Asian. See how stupid that is? You're both from K2, K2A and K2. So you're freaking brothers or whatever, siblings.
Yeah.
Of some kind. Yeah. And you're acting this way. It's just ludicrous. That's like you said. It's people are like, well, I'm from here. Well, actually, not too far back, we all were from the same shit. We all were K2. How about that?
Yeah, that's right.
All of these things that now are such big, Europeans or Asians or Native Americans. Yeah, all of us really have a relation to K2. So an ancestor daddy. Anyways, so then the next picture is, of course, the video we had about Atlantis.
Yes.
Cory's now the expert of.
Right. I know enough to call it fake. That's what I know.
All right, you don't need to go looking for it. In other words,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, plus, actually, this picture is even funny too, because if you took this island that they have here, even though it's probably almost where they said it was, the problem is they say that island is bigger than Africa and Asia combined. And so that would actually touch the Americas.
It can't really fit in that spot, actually.
So we know that's also bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's funny is a lot of the programs that try to supposedly find it, they'll only tell you about the stuff that matches. They don't tell you about how many things that do not match. Like, well, from all the things that match, it looks like it's here. I'm like, that's not how you do that.
You didn't look for the falsification there.
Yeah, plus to me, like the fact that they guess before looking, that's also not a good thing. You should look and then, I know it's crazy, but let me just tell you my process. Belief etiquette, reasoned belief acquisitions. In other words, things that I potentially may believe are like Cory. Cory potentially, when I told him, well, I'm going to tell you about Homo erectus becomes humans, you potentially were ready to believe me.
Yep.
But it certainly helped to learn all the evidence.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you don't even actually believe me anymore. Now you understand.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Which is like I told you what I really try to do. I don't want you to be like, oh, great, wait, Damien knows everything or something, some bullshit. Because who cares? I want you to know everything.
Yeah.
If you think that this is about me trying to show off for myself, no. I am trying very hard to teach others so they are empowered. I want self-mastery, not Damien mastery.
Right.
I want you to be confident. I want you to understand how to think rational like I do. I want you to understand how to break things down like axiology, utilize good ontology of what something is. To be able to navigate this thinking and how to research, even how to look, or also just great thing like we talked about. Don't say other people don't know when you don't know that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because then you create, especially if you're famous, because some people have 1 million followers, and they say the shit why I want to do this video, and I know I don't have 1 million followers. Someone's got to tell the truth. Like this, what fucking? Oh God! Oh, we don't know. It could be anywhere around Africa. And I'm like, no. What the? No. I'm like, oh my God. I need to do a video on this because I want you to understand. I don't want to just go, Cory, stop believing that's wrong. I don't just do that.
Although
Cory goes, that would be the easy way.
Although, stop believing that, it's wrong.
Well, true. Yeah. Don't believe that. Yeah.
But here's why.
Yeah, here's why. And so that's the other thing too, is some people say you can't change people with facts that they didn't use facts to get into them. And I would say if that was a truism, which it's not, if that was a truism, then counseling would literally not work. Right. No one comes to counseling because they've reasoned their way into their fucked up life.
Yeah.
Yeah. They literally didn't.
So yeah, I've heard it multiple times is that you can't reason someone out of a belief they didn't reason themselves into, but that's actually the only way to get them out of it. You can't unreason them.
Counseling, guess what? Counseling is talking therapy, or it could be helping you get to a level of reason.
Yeah.
In fact, there's REBT, which is rational emotive behavioral therapy. I think that's what it's called. Because I'm not into all that. I do my own stuff. Even I can't help it. Even counseling, I make my own. I think it should be an ETA, Ethical Therapeutic Alliance.
Right.
Right. It sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of counseling, an Ethical Therapeutic Alliance. I am not better than you. I am working with you to help you get better. It's an alliance. We're working together. I demand you are involved. I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Nor should I. Shouldn't I be empowering you? What, am I making you weaker? So you need 15 years of counseling when I realize I can probably help you in 6 months?
Right.
Especially when you have to actually, I don't know, pay for this shit. And it's like $300 or, you know what I'm saying? I don't do counseling, but I was going to do counseling before I decided to be an activist.
My counseling is $170 a session.
Right. And so my point is, in school, that's where I made the ethical decision. I told you my behavior didn't get better because of my intelligence. They didn't actually even get better from my creativity. Actually, even though I'm very creative, I create more now than I ever did before because I was just lazy. I could do it. I even thought of ideas. It's just you have to do it. And drawing takes so long. You know. So it just I don't know, procrastination, laziness, I don't know what the fuck, but a bad attitude. Because I was also abused, so I did have a bad attitude. So even though I was creative and intelligent, I had a bad attitude because my life was fucked.
Yeah.
So I wasn't real happy, and anyways. So that's what I was trying to say is it just IQ, even creativity is great. It didn't help my life. I was terrible. Actually, it's ethics that changed my life. And like I said, kindness, undeserved kindness. When that therapist, because everybody else was like trying to force me and stuff, and I beat up my roommate and I made knives out of the ceiling and all this shit. I mean, because I was aggressive and violent, and they had me on homicidal awareness in the thing, and everybody's like, scared of me, and she comes in and she's like, I think you've really been through a lot. I think that you have really had to suffer, and no one's ever really listened or cared about you. I'm telling you, it started like breaking me. Like, oh, fuck. And so that's why I try to tell people to think that kindness can't be used as a massive tool for change is not grasping kindness.
Right.
Or even grasping the ontology. The reason it works is we're emotional beings, and it connects with us emotionally, and thus it makes a difference. Yeah. We can be as stubborn as we want in our mind, logically reason, and emotions just go, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that's right.
Don't care. And just swamp your brain with emotions, which is an emotional hijacking, which you don't have a lot of control over. Doesn't mean you have zero will, as they talk about no free will.
In a way, it's similar but opposite with the way we react when people are attacking us online, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's very similar.
We get that flood of reaction in our brain, and that makes us react in a way. And even if I'm generally trying to be kind, if I feel like somebody's being an ass, then I react like an ass. So
yeah. Well, I told you I used to do bully beatdown because I understand how to psychologically get people, even in a way that they're not actually no defense.
right.
Which to me is the best attack, is one that they feel no justified defense, because you can just sit there and attack them and shame them and shame them and shame them and shame them, and they just feel like they're just drowning.
Yeah.
Anyways, used to do that, That's why I'm not on LinkedIn, because they say your behavior is not appropriate. Oh, yeah, because you didn't have anti-fascists up in the fucking, what was it, the World Human Health Organization or whatever website. Someone said some anti-gay stuff, and I fucking just trampled that dude emotionally. To where he left, well, you're a good guy, and I guess I'm sorry, I shouldn't be. I mean, I kicked his ass. Because he said that that homosexuals should be beaten down and all this shit.
Oh, geez.
I went after him, moral. And then he just crushed his ass. Showed him that everything it was immoral. And anyways, like I told you before, they're dignity attacks. So I just did 30 dignity attacks. I just wouldn't let them get away. Just dignity attack. I wouldn't even talk to them. Dignity attack. See, I already know anyways. Even psychopaths, about 3 or 4 times, they can't stand it. They'll play act like they're standing it. But they eventually, they can't stand it.
Right.
And so I'm just saying, I'm telling that secret because psychopaths think that they're like unbeatable or whatever.
Right.
Oh, shit. That's a veneer. It only takes a few pushes consistently. So you just don't change. Don't get emotional, because that's what they're looking for. You don't get emotional. You just go, yeah, you're not a good person. Again, you're proving you're not a good person. I know you're not a good person, and here's why. Again, I see this behavior, would you not say, is a bad person? Aren't you proving to be a bad person? Anyways, you're evil. Anyways, I just keep. Anyways, because like I told you, they say they don't care. But I know the truth is the ontology of all humans, they're not special, are emotional beings.
Yeah.
Your psychosis is something on top of that you're an emotional being, not the thing.
Yeah.
So everyone can be gotten. That's like the belief that you can't be conned, and you're probably easier.
Yeah, that's right. Because it makes you so overconfident that you're like, fuck, I don't even need to watch out for it.
But also that's because what I say, there's 2 types of dignity attacks, dignity enrichments and dignity attacks. And I utilize both of them very effectively. Sometimes I only use one, depends. Like I said, more with the psychopath, I'm going to use dignity attacks in the negative because they need to feel the fucking pressure. But also what I do is then as soon as I see them start to break, and I know because I can tell how they start talking, like they're exhausted or they fucking surrender or they start, okay, then I immediately am nice. Because I know that this is when it's the most powerful.
Yeah.
Being nice at this point will fucking just hammer home what I just did. If I mean, it will miss the moment. Anyways, I told you before, I know how exactly and why. But what's so funny is, like I was trying to say to here, is it all, even though psychopaths think they're so special, they're not. It's almost always something close to this. And if you do it in this exact way, it works. It won't work for a long time because they can actually just choose to care or not care. So it's not, I wouldn't say super effective, like in the long term. That's the other thing too, why I stopped doing it too, because it's not healthy for me to be aggressive like that all the time, or use my abilities. I should be focusing on teaching and benefiting and helping more positive ways of benefiting people but I still don't feel any shame for fucking doing bully beatdowns all over fucking LinkedIn until I got fucking kicked off.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, and then one guy complained, "You making me feel bad." And I was like, what a joke.
Yeah.
Aren't you guys supposed to be the fucking no feeling bros? You know, go ahead and cry about it to everybody
Facts
else.
over feelings and all that.
Yeah. Oh, I made you feel bad. Oh, you. But I, like I said, to me, if they have read my stuff, wouldn't they already know that I could do that?
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
not said I can't do that. I got fucking videos about it. And like I said, told Cory, there's stuff I know I don't tell now because I explained too much. And that the guy I was with that was a philosopher, he said, man, you could really use this against women. Like in a relationship or like trying to, you know, get a date or manipulate people. And I said, don't you ever fucking do that. Yeah. Don't you fucking use my ability to hurt people, you fucking asshole. And so I realized, I better not tell everything I can do.
Yeah, not everybody's an ethical person, so.
Right, that you can take my stuff and certainly be unethical. Yeah. I've just took all my abilities and made it ethical. And I also, like a lot of times I don't like talk to people. I don't not on all the time. You know what I'm saying? Not that I couldn't. I just choose to not be on all the time and try to, you know, manipulate everything. I just kind of easy going. But if someone fucks with me, then I go, oh,
right.
Okay. No problem. But I'm just saying I don't value that. Remember I told you? That's why I said I don't have a channel trying to do that because I could easily do that with lots of people.
Yeah.
But I don't do that because I see more value in like us trying to teach and empower people instead of showing off how I can beat other people up mentally. Like, no.
Yeah, for sure.
Since it's not an ego thing for me, like I said, how is that going to empower other people? And even if let's just say that I did that, right? And I explained it so well, most of my followers or whatever, or fans could do it. But if what we're doing is just harming people, you know what I'm saying? Have I really added good to the world?
Yeah, that's not, defeats the point, really. Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. For me, the value. Like, what's the value? I'm not saying there's no value in debating everybody or something. You know? Sure. Compared to me teaching a 3-hour video and you understand where humans came from, you understand that hierarchy is bad or the anarchism is a beautiful ethical system for humanity. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'd rather spend time on that. For sure. Personally, like I said, that's why I don't do a lot of that. Because I know some of the even the archaeologists are probably disappointed I don't been done shitloads of different, you know, debunking stuff. I could, but that's not really my focus. Right. I really want to teach people. And like I said, really what I want to do, that's why I want to do it in a path, in a sense. I want to remove religion. I want to remove faith. I want to remove the old dogma that we're individualistic. Because it's true. I'm not saying I'm pushing stuff that's not true. Just I'm trying to show you this is not true. This was you learned is not true. Yeah. Here's what's true. I want to empower you to, but also I feel like I told you before, I'm literally doing anarchism in the sense that I'm teaching you what you need to know to see that anarchism is actually the answer. Yeah. I feel. Because when you realize we don't need religion, but we do need each other, well, then there's this another system.
There's another way to do it.
Yeah, and also the individual anarchism is not an anarchism to me. We do need to understand the individual, but it's delusional to think that you're not somehow connected to other people or that we aren't benefited by being connected to other people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if I wanted to discuss certain anarchist ideas that are more individualistic, then I think that they tend to understand that they're part of a society, a part of a collective as well. But yeah, they use language that makes it seem like they don't get it.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I find it to be even if it was a thing that we could function solo, I already told you we cannot really function without positive interaction with people. Right. We literally go insane. Or I'm not saying maybe a few people can handle it. Most can't. Most are going to be a fucking train wreck or want to kill themselves. No.
Loneliness exists because of our social nature. So
right, and so you get what I'm saying. So that's what I said. It is a big deal. They act like it's not a big deal. Yeah, and like I told you too, I feel like some people that feel they're the atheists only. They really hate that I say I'm an axiological atheist. Like this one person goes, "Oh yeah, the Brights tried to do that, add stuff to atheism," and I go, mine is a legitimate philosophy. I didn't invent the term or even the ideas of what the term meant. I'm literally explaining what it means to you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I ended up blocking him. Fucking atheist, right? And I fucking blocked him because he was like, you can't do that, you know? And then I said, what the hell are you talking about? And I show him, here's a thing from philosophy. I can't remember what it is called, but it's philosophy something. And it says constructive, or it goes anthropogenesis arguments for atheism. It's what axiology is under.
Okay.
Which I think means person-centered.
Sure.
Anthropogenesis. Yeah. Anyways. So, and the thing, it says axiology, and then it has a bracket, and it says constructive. What they mean by that is it's a positive and an active, where the atheist only is an unactive. I don't believe.
Right.
I don't believe. Nothing else, not connected to anything. Axiological is literally active. Yeah. It is positive, constructive. It literally makes arguments about, and it says that Marx used it, Freud used it, Sartre used it, and I can't remember the number. Someone else used it, maybe it was Nietzsche. Someone else used it. It's multiple people use it to say that you can have unfettered happiness with a human-driven morality and solve human problems just with humans' means or whatever. I mean, but that's what it means. But it actually means more than that, because there is, just like I said, there is no axiology atheism that doesn't involve anti-theism.
Right.
So and then this one guy goes, well, then it's just anti-theism. I'm like, oh my God, it's also atheist. It doesn't believe in it. What?
Yeah, like, you're not listening, actually. Like that's what's happening.
I'm literally telling you, it's complicated because it's a value philosophy. Think of value like a web. All these different things are stuck on the web. Are they not on the web? Well, they're all on the web. Then they're the same thing as far as axiology is concerned. They're all related and part of this thing. So, and also, I break it down. They don't always do this. A lot of times they make it sound like it's a very strong anti-theism that's also doesn't believe in gods and is super strong secular and humanism together. Like that's kind of what axiology, like how they generally explain it. It's a little more going on than that. So that's why I break it and explain it, because they kind of just say it's all this, which still I know that if it was just that, they don't like it. They're only atheists. What do you mean? It's also anti-theism, and it's also secularism, and it's also humanism? I'm like, yep.
Yeah. I never understood the atheism is only I don't believe kind of people, because like, then what the fuck difference does it make? Like, why do I even talk to you if that's all, you're okay. So we don't believe. The end. Like, there's more to it.
But what they don't get is I try to tell him, which is why Vance just blocked him, because I told him, I said, you are trying to act as if atheism only is all it can be.
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, well, the definition, I go, the definition is a shorthand idea of a thing, but it doesn't explain the whole thing. If there's a cliff note, is that the whole book? I'm like, I don't know why this is hard for you.
Yeah. You can't use a dictionary definition for anything, really, because
but I wasn't saying it couldn't be that. I said you can't limit it to just that.
Well, because dictionaries describe the use of words.
But only in a paragraph, right? It's not like an entire book about it.
No, it's not. It doesn't describe anything. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying it means very little. It is giving you just the simplest thing. And he's acting like that's all it can ever be. And I'm like, that's insane.
I get that all the time with people trying to say, oh, well, feminism is all about just women. And oh, well, communism is when the government does stuff. Look at the dictionary definition. Anarchy means chaos. Look at the dictionary definition. Get the fuck out of here with that. Get the
well, no, I said go look at anarchism philosophy, because there's a difference. One is talking about what they think a state of being is without any control. The other one is an understanding of anarchist theory, which anarchist theory is about how to organize a group of people. It's not the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And also our use of anarchism is really about anti-hierarchy to make it easier. It's not anti-state. The reason we're anti-state is because we're anti-hierarchy.
Exactly.
And the fact they don't get this.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like asking me, Damien, do you agree that there's some superior people that can run things? And then decide for all of us without asking us because somehow they were decided to be the best. And I'm like, you haven't listened to the fucking thing I said, obviously.
Yeah.
Not to be mean, but I'm just saying, I told you I don't believe in leaders. I don't believe in freaking power leaders. I'm talking about people that can, in other words, like I can tell Cory what to do and I have power. If a society, we decide that Cory's behavior because of something that is ridiculous is going on or whatever, then that's different. But to me, still, it should be decided. I would never accept, even like say we have a court system. Once again, the easiest way to grasp my rule, never, ever, ever should there be a single leader ever. That's my rule. Ever, for any reason at all. Never, ever, ever. So anyone that thinks that I'd be okay with a single leader is lost their fucking mind. I'm against that 100%. Even if you kept this government, you took away all the fucking single leaders. No fucking president, no fucking governors, no fucking mayors, whatever. No, ever, ever. Everything should be group, everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm just saying, so when people don't have to come up with 50,000 things Damien possibly believes, does it involve a violation of that?
Yeah.
I want non-hierarchical.
Yeah.
And it's not that I want it as like, well, because I just like it that way. I know it's healthy for us. I know it's more productive. I know it's more just and caring.
And I think it's just literally like no one person has the ability to know what's best for everyone.
Right.
Like, it's just a fact-based thing.
Right. And so I'm just saying, I would never be okay with that. And they say, well, temporary, then we should have a whole group of them.
Yeah.
And then if you say, well, we need to send someone, I could say, I'm not against federation, because once again, I'm not against society. I'm against hierarchy.
Yeah.
Once you start grasping that, and
I'm not against organization.
Yeah. So correct. That's what, I need to write that in my book too, because I've started writing my book, and I've been taking some of my stuff offline that I say, also been saying more stuff to define things. I'm giving more answers, because I usually don't, not always, but sometimes I blow people off. I don't feel like answering your fucking bullshit, but I've been answering a lot of stuff because I want to put it in my book to explain who I am. So because I really realized if I just say I'm different, they're really not going to understand that.
Yeah.
And if I say I'm an anarchist, they're going to think, like you said, they already know what it means. And that's not what I mean. Yeah. Or maybe they'll say, well, this other anarchist, I don't care what any anarchist. I never met an anarchist. My shit's from me. Like I said a long time ago, the only reason I even use the word anarchism is because of Cory. This also shows how important that activism is.
Right.
If Cory wouldn't have said, hey, Damien, right? Outreach. Damien, isn't that anarchism?
Sounds a lot like this thing that I like.
And I went, I don't know. So, because I couldn't remember, I was trying to call it like libertarian, left wing, something. I was, because I nothing that, also, I didn't know about anarchism. So I didn't really know about, I knew about like Democrat and Republican were not the fuck what I was. So I was trying to figure out what the fuck am I exactly? And then you said that. So I'm just saying how helpful. That was extremely helpful to my life, you just saying that one little thing. Because then it sent me down the path of anarchism, which now like defines my life.
Right.
No, I'm just saying it's
awesome.
I appreciate you doing that. I'm just showing how you also, could feel like you don't do much. Just doing that literally has evolved my life.
No, that's good.
Right. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You did anarchist outreach and I became an anarchist.
That's the whole deal, right?
Right.
That's what we want.
I'm just trying to show you. Do you see how you're more powerful even than you thought?
Yeah, for sure.
And I help a lot of people now because of that. And it's all because of you saying, hey, Damien, are you sure you're not an anarchist? In a sense.
Right.
It sounds like anarchism. And I went, I don't, actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it and went, oh, this is exactly what the fuck I am. Holy shit,
that's cool.
there's a name for it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I was even more happy because I had all kinds of other issues, like not anarchism only. And realized,
Right.
oh, they have queer anarchism, and I can fight for my intersex and genderqueer. Oh, they have feminism. Oh, I
Yeah.
can do that. Oh, and they have, so it just got better.
For sure.
The more you learn, the more, oh, this is green anarchism. Fuck, I'm that too.
Yep.
And so, yeah, but I just think that having all this different variation to me is part of the thing, not like a bug.
Yep.
To me, I feel like the authoritarians, it has to be this perfect one or two or whatever, highest being or whatever nonsense. And then everyone else is supposed to be, under this or something.
You fall in line. I don't want to speak for all of them, but I have witnessed like actual authoritarian communists online being like, well, if you don't do the job you're assigned, then you'll get the wall. It's like, well,
which you mean by that, kill you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's not the world I want to build. So get the fuck out of here.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I felt like it's important that I do define what it is, But you're right. I'm not against organization. That's not because I told him I'm not against hierarchy of any kind. I totally believe in the hierarchy of values. That's how you do axiology well.
Right.
And I totally believe in the hierarchy of morality, that there's certain behaviors better than others. I mean, I have zero problem with that.
If you want
but
to,
if you mean hierarchy of people, where you can be treating people unethical and unjust, fuck no. That one, no.
Yeah.
So no. But like I said, if you the simplest to grasp what I'm saying, like I said about the anti-state, is that I'm not against municipalism, like somehow that we still have electricity and running water.
Right.
And what the fuck?
Yeah.
But to me, that why those are done is because to me the group decided.
Well, and I think it's inherent within what we've said that like the people who work in power, they're just as important as the mayor. They're just as important as the governor, right? Like
more.
More, exactly.
More important to me. So I don't know about just important, certainly more. I already told you I would remove. I find them, a governor, a mayor, or a president, to be an actual problem, not anything that I support. I that's why I feel like oh, you vote for president. I want better society than worse one, but I don't support any of this shit. Don't you listen to what I say?
Yeah,
fuck no. What I want, I mean, like I said, I don't have a choice. Can I get what I want? If I get what I want, whoa.
Right. Yeah. Is anarchism on the ballot?
Fucking hell yeah.
Is that a choice we can pick? I'll take that.
But also I feel like in two ways, an anarchist doesn't worry about that because we know you really are never going to vote away the rich and then be totally okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's greed. It's not going to. You can't hardly get fuckers making minimum wage or above that. Sorry, not minimum wage. Above minimum wage, not even like really wealth, but just above minimum wage. To think, I can remember this one guy said, "How would you feel if you?" Because he was making, I think he said he made $15 an hour. So what if you made $20 an hour? He said, "Oh man, that'd be so great." And I said, "And all the people that are working there, they get 30. But you get 20. And he's like, well, now that 20 didn't matter, right? Because someone got more. Yeah. And I said, or you can get $16 an hour and everybody else gets 12. He goes, well, I'm going to go with that. Seriously.
Fuck off. No. That's
really? Right? How stupid that is. It's that greed shit. So I'm just, my point is that we can't even get them to, I go, how is that logical? The other way, you get $20 an hour. Yes, everyone else gets more, but you got more. Or you can have less and then they have less. And you chose that one to hurt them. So, yeah.
No, that hurts my brain. I can't.
Right, but I'm just trying to show you that. So my point is, it is not logical to think we're going to get billionaires to be cool with losing their wealth. True. We can't even get this fucker to be okay with giving people more money.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Even if he gets more money.
Yeah.
And still,
He just doesn't get as much as them, and yeah.
But I'm just saying, we're not even talking about middle class. We're just talking about like fucking workers.
Yeah.
You can't even hardly get workers to agree that it's okay if other workers, they can get more as long as other workers get more. They're like, no, they want them to get less.
Yeah.
They'll take less as long as other people are even less, which is just but that's capitalism, right? That literally is this. It's because it's about being ahead, being better, having more. It's this fucking gluttony of money and power and wealth, and it's just
yeah.
It's not like they needed to have bacon sandwiches every day or something, or massages every day. They literally could have all of that and still have less wealth. See what I'm saying? It's like people. I think the regular people don't grasp how opulent those other fuckers live.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember I had this fucking friend who's a millionaire, right? Every month he would go for 2 weeks vacation. Every single month. And he was trying to tell me, because one time, because I kind of got pissed. One time he was trying to tell me how he can understand me. I said, dude, I haven't gone on a vacation in 6 years.
Right.
Because I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have fucking money for that. Because every money I do, I got to put it on bills. I fucking live under capitalism.
Yeah.
Here's this fucking guy is like Jet said, and they're talking about how hard it is for him, and he needs his vacation. Like, yeah, so the fuck do all of us, ass fucking hole. And I ain't got shit.
And actually, I don't think people with millions of dollars often work that hard. So,
well, that's a whole different issue. He would
so
say
they don't need the vacation as bad as
oh,
you
don't
did.
but don't ask them. They would say they work harder, Cory.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we know they don't, but they would say they do because once again, it's about justifying they're better. We do more and harder,
right.
so we deserve our vacation. Oh, but I don't. 6 years, fuck me, right? Yeah. It's so unethical, but I'm just saying you can't get people to reason. But reason is to me the only thing. But the other thing to me is education. I feel like education. That's why I like doing education, because it is so important. I feel like I'm an anarchist educator. I am trying to, more than just an activist. I'm really trying to teach people things and teach them how to think. Like you said, not just teach them what to think. Yeah, but that's also important. But not just that. You should know how also to think. And then also, like I try to do, and why this is reasonable. Why this is better than I just guessed. Anyways, well, go ahead and say anything else you want for your show and what's going on or whatever.
Got a lot of interviews lined up, and of course, we're into our 5th year of Read Reviews. So come and check out our review of books from a Marxist and anarchist perspective. And I'm working on a lot of stuff all the time. And my link is there. It's the Linktree /Skeptical Leftist. And or just look for the Skeptical Leftist on YouTube or on your podcast app.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you coming in and trudging through this.
For sure.
I know it can seem, hard DNA stuff, because it's something I look at all the time.
Right.
Have been. But I think you did pretty good, man. Doesn't it feel like it's getting easier?
It is getting easier. It's still pretty dense, but it is getting easier.
Well, anyways, sure. I hope that you have more confidence about knowing what happened, than just trusting that Damien said it.
Yep, for sure. For sure. I could probably have a conversation with somebody who knows nothing, and I would be able to have that conversation.
That's good. Right on. All right. Well, I hope that everyone else feels the same, and go ahead and take care. And next time we'll probably be doing the myths again.
Back to the comparative mythology stuff.
Finishing all those.
Right on.
Right on. And what did you want to do next time on if I go on your show?
Or
if you want to think about it, it's fine.
I'll think about it. Yeah. Yeah.
No problem. Sure. Not trying to force anything, just wondering. Anyways, So take care, everyone. Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, agnosticism, atheism, antitheism, antireligionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudohistory, pseudomorality, things that are found in religion.